That was the first hug I ever had in my life. The underlying factor is always, what do I do to myself? Be the master of your own mind. So you need villains. So congratulations, I have villains in my life. Wonderful. Let's listen to the voice of self-respect talking to me. What is essential cannot be seen with the eyes, but it can be felt by the heart. I still don't have dishwasher. I failed in life. I don't have dishwasher. I confess. It's complete failure. So when I came to the Brahma Kumaris, I was told about God. I felt, oh, I'm out of here. Every soul is naturally connected to that source. That's where we come from. To go camping, I say, if I can bring my own shower, I'm okay. I'll go camping.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dose of Inspirational Light. It's been a few months since we've had Eric on the show. So firstly, Eric, thank you for coming back and welcome again.
Very welcome. Sorry to keep you waiting for long.
It's all right. All good. We were worth the wait. Thank you so much, Eric. So we'll get right into it because a lot of people loved your episodes from last time. So we've talked about your uncle and your personal journey and how you got into meditation and how your uncle was the Canadian Mozart. And we talked about a little bit about your mom. So now what we're up to is your dad. So tell me a little bit about you and your relationship with your dad.
Well, this is a long story, but it's a kind of a very interesting story because I don't know, I think there must be some psychological significance of, about the relationship between a son and his father. And it will later impact my relationship with God as a father figure, which always was a very, difficult thing for me to accept. So it all comes from that story with my dad. But basically, my dad and I was a very complicated story, I would say in the beginning. It's a kind of admiration and problematic, relationship. When I was young, of course, my dad is a very well-cultivated man, a little bit aristocratic person in France. Used to own, he ran a hotel with my mom for a while, a beautiful hotel by the shore of the ocean. He was also an oyster farmer, which is a very interesting profession. In Brittany, in France. It's a very common and it's a very lucrative, or it used to be a very lucrative profession. So raising oysters and seashells and all kind of, seafruits or seafood. And so he was, kind of very cultivated guy, very busy with his work, but not necessarily the dad that we would see now in this modern days, the dad taking care of the kids on their knees and being very warm and very loving and etc. That was not so much his style. I used to joke sometimes and say, when I kiss my dad on the cheek, like we do in France, sometimes I felt as if I had to leave a millimeter between my lips and his cheek so that don't touch him too much. Not the dad at all that will give me hugs or stuff like that. That was his style. So when I was young, my parents divorced. We went to Canada. And at that time, we got caught into the parents' conflict. So my mom and my grandmother on my mother's side put us basically a little bit against our father in a way. So we were raised as if he was the monster in the family. And it was, probably something I don't think was very good for us. We were told, tell your dad you hate him, you don't want to see him again, never again. So it was a little bit rough like this. So for 7 years, we didn't see our dad at all in Canada. But when my mother passed away, He only found out about my mom passing away quite a while after. He didn't know at the time. So where we were all by ourselves in an apartment, my sister and I, basically wondering how we're going to pay rent. I was 14, she was 15, you know, it was pretty strange. And one day my dad showed up and I was really shocked. You know, I didn't know he was coming. I just went into my apartment and suddenly I saw my dad sitting there waiting for me. And he was very, very nice. He asked us if we wanted to stay in Canada, if we wanted to go back to France with him, told us he had a beautiful house built for us. And I knew we saw the little sample of the house before we left when I was young. So I knew he had a gorgeous house by the ocean with a big land and beautiful cars. And for me as a young boy, that was fine. So I thought, okay, let's go back to France, you know, with my dad.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Then, so I went back to France, but I used to love him, you know, for many things, but at the same time, I was very rebellious of French, stiff and rigid and conservative mentality. I mean, Canada is a very open-minded place, you know, so already from 7 to 14 years old, I already got a taste for North American mentality. And at 14, when I went back to France, I was very rebellious and resisting and reacting to my dad's beautiful bourgeois, you know, kind of quality of life. And so I used to love him, but at the same time, we used to fight a lot and quarrel a lot. And by the age of 21, you know, I don't know if I can say all this on record, but yeah, it was quite a few bad moments between us. And one day, I think he pushed me against the wall. I mean, we were fighting and he chased after me in the house and pushed me against the wall. And we were both like this, ready to hit each other. And I thought, okay, that's it. You know, like this, it's not going to work. So I left France, not just for that, but that was a good motivational you know, energy. And I felt France is a country way too small for my dad and I, you know, it's way too small for both of us. So let's go back to Canada. There's a lot of space and I'll be fine. But when I moved back to Canada, it's as if my dad was living in my head, you know, so you can go anywhere in the world. Your dad is still living in your head, so it doesn't work. But still it was okay. I was in Canada doing my things, and then, you know, I started Raj Yoga. And, you know, we were told bad things about my dad, and we witnessed big fight between my dad and my mom. And for young kids, you see things that you should never see. And you cannot, at the age of 4 or 5 or 6 years old, understand what adults go through in their relationship. So for us, we thought our dad was at fault, our dad was the monster, and, you know, it's hard to live with it. So when I came to Raj Yoga and they told us, you know, you have to be a nice yogi, you have to love everyone, you have to forgive everyone for whatever they did. And I said, wait a minute, I have to forgive everyone? There must be an exception, right? We must be allowed for a few names on the list of exceptions. I said, no exceptions. You have to forgive. I said, no, that's not possible. I cannot, certain things you cannot forgive. But they say, yes, you have to. So I really learned through Raj Yoga how to change my minding. And I don't know if we talked about it last time, but to learn to love somebody that you have a very deep conflict with is not a simple thing. So I started to do a lot of visualization, imagining my dad to be my brother's soul and a being of light. And I will bring my dad in front of God. And I would say to God, well, you take care of this one because I can't. So I would meditate, almost feeling as if my dad was next to me, you know, and thinking, I have to change my minding. I have to feel differently about the soul, not about my dad, because my dad was always, you know, kind of a bipolar relationship. I love him, but I hate him, and I want to see him, but I don't want to see him. And when we see each other, we fight with each other. So I changed my minding in meditation, and then came the time I had to go back to France to confront my family. It was always this kind of very strange, you know, bipolar feeling with my dad. And so then after, I think it was about 2 years, I was with the Brahma Kumaris. I knew I would go back to France and they wanted to see me. So when I went back to France for the first time after being with the Brahma Kumaris, I realized that everybody was at my father's place, I mean, in the little village, in wintertime. Normally, they only come in the summertime, but all my cousins, nephews, aunts, aunties, they were all there. And I thought, this is strange. Why are they in Brittany in the winter? And actually, so there was the apéro, you know, the kind of drink you have before meal.
Yes.
Everybody was at my father's place. And I realized, well, this is strange. So they were all sitting there, and I was there, and suddenly I told them, "Are you just all here just to see if I'm normal or if there's something wrong with me?" And my young cousin, he was much younger than me, and he said, "Yes, bro, that's exactly what we felt." And they all thought I was cuckoo, you know, they thought I turned totally crazy, and they were expecting me to arrive with my orange robe, shaved, ringing the bells, and singing Hare Rama or something like that. So and I was normal, you know, I was just a good yogi. And so I told them joking, I said, so I guess you're disappointed. There's no show tonight. And there's not going to be any, oh, wow, you know, the Eric in Canada went cuckoo with the Brahma Kumaris, no show. So they were a little bit kind of disappointed. They were all ready to be a family clan, to heal me and to tell me how, you know, I should go back to my Catholic roots or whatever.
Yeah.
And so and then I realized, no, there's not going to be any show tonight. So anyway, we had a good time. Everybody left. And at the end, my sisters left me alone with my dad saying, okay, have a good talk or good evening together. And I was there on the couch, I remember. And my dad was very conventional, you know, always sitting on the same chair, drinking his glass of wine, being a little bit distant, very formal, and not easy to talk to, particularly at a young age for me. So then I realized, okay, this is my yogi test. This is going to be my big exam night. I have to pass my test with my dad tonight. So I was sitting there, he was sitting there, and it was a little bit, you know, we're searching how to have a conversation. I brought him a beautiful gift that he liked very much. And so I was, you know, talking to him, and I was in my head thinking, gosh, it hasn't changed. You know, he's still the same problem. And part of me was the devil telling me he's wrong, his ego, and he did wrong. And how can he talk to me like this? And my little yogi side was telling me, Eric, he's a soul. He's God's child. You have to see him differently, think differently, have love for him, give him good vibration, you know, change whatever you practice for 2 years, do it. And so I then started to really, you know, let my good side speak in my head, having good feeling. And I just became very relaxed, very, very relaxed. And I just asked him, so what happened with mom? And it was such a shocking question to him because it was a taboo, you know, don't talk about it. And I said, so what happened with mom? Just like that. But I was not aggressive. I was really the good yogi. I don't know. And so I probably felt there was no aggression from my side, no judgment or something. And he opened up in a way that he never opened up to me before. So we started having this incredible conversation in the evening when he started telling me things that I never heard. And I realized, why did I make up my mind about him just based on what other people told me and never ask him his side of the story? And I'm convinced he told me told the truth, but from his heart, what he felt and how much, you know, he loved my mom, everything. And I started to really, honestly, I think I was just falling in love with my dad in that evening, thinking, he's actually okay. He's a good guy. You know, they went through conflict, but that doesn't belong to me. You know, two adults suddenly having a big fight. Yeah, could happen. You know, it's not my, who am I to judge what they went through? I don't know. I was young. They were adults. Now I understand as an adult that yes, things can go crazy. So we had an incredible conversation all night. Actually, within, you know, the sun started rising. We were still talking. And I was feeling very, very strong emotional attachment to my dad suddenly. He told me he wanted to be a priest when he was young. I said, what? You never told me you wanted to be a priest. So he said, Eric, your lifestyle, you live the way you want. Who am I to say you should do this or that? So I really kind of fell in love with my dad on that evening. And we spoke until the sun rised. And we said, okay, let's go and have a few hours rest, because I had planned to leave the next day, I think, because I didn't think it would work. So I was thinking, let me go, say hello, and then leave as quickly as possible. So I was a bit regretful to have arranged for departure the next day. And the next day I came, and then we said good morning, everything was fine. And then he realized, yeah, I have to go already. I have to leave. And so usually he will be sitting on his chair reading the newspaper. And in the morning, my dad, we cannot talk to him. It was like a rule in the house. You don't talk to dad in the morning. He's not talkable in the breakfast time. And you don't touch him. You don't bother him. He's with his newspaper. Stay away. So I said, okay, I have to go. And then usually he barely puts down the newspaper. We almost say goodbye, kissing on the cheek, and that's it, you know. So I say goodbye. I said, no. He put his newspaper down. He said, let me walk you to the car. And I said, walk me to the door or to the car. And he doesn't do that, you know. My dad doesn't do that. So he followed me, which was very odd. He never did that. And we ended up being by the door, I remember, and me going on it was a big house, a lot of land. So I was to go towards the car. And I turned around and said goodbye. And I realized something is wrong here. There's something that doesn't work. And so I don't know where it came from, you know, inside, but I turned around. I put my suitcase on the ground, and I told Dad, come. And so he was like a telephone pole, you know, he looked like a concrete pole, like not knowing what to do with his hands. So I took him in my arms. It was the first hug I ever had in my life. So I took him in my arms, and I took his arms and I put them around me. And I said, Dad, it's not complicated. You just put your hands here, squeeze a little bit, not too much. And I said, it's called a hug. You can do that. And I squeezed him in my arms, and we both starting to cry, of course. And it was the first time, you know, I was in his arms. The first time at 20, I don't know, 3 years old, maybe. Told him for the first time, I told him, you know, I really love you, which I never said to him before, ever. And I knew he couldn't say the same thing, but I didn't mind. I knew he was saying it. I knew he could feel it, but it's not part of his way to speak. So he didn't say anything. But we squeezed, we hugged for a long time. And it was such an incredible feeling of forgiveness, you know, that everything was fine. Everything was fine. Past is past. Over. You're a soul, I'm a soul. We're extraterrestrial being traveling on Earth, having a journey. This is a big movie. It's fine. You know, let's keep that moment. And after that time, to be honest with you, my dad became one of the person I would have the most love for in my whole life. You know, it would be, we would not talk, he didn't change much. So I think my sister felt, well, you got it easy. You just came, had a big hug, had a good time with him, and you left. They still had to live with him. But he was fine. You know, he changed a lot over time, got older. We had lovely conversation. Every email he sent me, I kept them, because he wrote so beautifully. So my relationship completely changed with him, completely. Not that I would talk to him every week. We talked rarely on the phone, but the feeling was there. And last year, you know, I was going to France, mostly to actually celebrate his 90th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So we had with my sisters that we would be with him for his 90th anniversary. So I had planned to be there. Date was fixed. And at the same time, I said, okay, I'm going to visit all the Brahma Kumaris Center in France. So suddenly it became a 7 weeks tour in France, and very, very, very lined up with a lot of activities. But there was some time in the schedule just to be with my dad. And just before I arrived in France, I was told that he wasn't well, and he was fighting a little cancer in his throat, but that was okay. He was managing, but he got COVID, and that COVID didn't work well with him. So just when 2 days, I think, or a few days before I was meant to be with him, he was hospitalized.
Mm.
And then I thought, okay, I'm coming. It's planned. I'm coming. I'll be there when he's at the hospital. But then it went really down quickly. And so I just went basically barely 1 day before the normal day I would be there. So I arrived and he was already almost unconscious in the hospital. But I know he knew I was there. And my sister, who is a nurse, and she works in palliative care, she told me, Eric, you have to speak. It's your voice that will give him the sense that you're there. You know, when they have cancer and COVID and all this, they take a lot of medication. So normally they say they don't, it's very, very dry. It's very, very dry. But when I started speaking, you could see all the tears. And we knew, okay, he knows I'm here. And it was a beautiful moment. So I stayed with him during that day a little bit. And we had planned that the next day I would be the one staying with him during the day. So we'll take turn. So somebody will always be there. And the next day I spent, part of the day with him, but I could feel, I knew it was, the conclusion of our story. And his breathing started to be a little bit hectic. So I called my sister and she knew, and she said, no, he's leaving in a few minutes. So I was there, right in front of him. And it's the first time I saw literally or felt the soul leaving the body, but it was so peaceful. And I was so glad that, he could leave. And for me, I don't know for my sisters and others, but for me, it was like, I'm with you, and I'm not, I'm going to honor you. I know he's a strong person, so he wouldn't like me to be crying or being too emotional. And I was supporting, I was just saying, just go. I'm with you. It's peaceful. And as birth could be sacred, I feel death should be sacred as well. So we celebrate the arrival of the soul, but we should also accompany the soul when it leaves, peacefully, and say, well, bon voyage, have a good trip, enjoy, go wherever you go, it will be okay. Don't worry. You always live in my heart anyway. I don't feel people die. I think we make people die. People leave, but they stay in our heart anyway. So it turned out that exactly the time I had set for being with my dad turned not into an anniversary, but a funeral. So we had time to prepare everything with my sisters, start to set up, what to do with the house and everything. And I felt life is incredible. When you really harmonize yourself with the elements of life, in that case, my father or whatever, life return the harmony to you. And I really, really felt that we create our life, we create our story. The story is not imposed upon us, but we are also, some of it comes from, we don't know where, but part of the story that we live is the story that we create. And if I didn't give that, if I didn't have that training or that teaching of the Brahma Kumaris, the Raj Yoga, I would have never made, peace with my dad. Never. I don't think so. I would have remained very angry at him, very confrontational, and very male energies conflicting with each other. It had to be a teaching that told me, no, just forgive, just create a new reality, create a new story. And that story stayed with me this whole time. The last 30 years with him were wonderful. And the fact that he left in front of me, to me, was, he has the proof that if you change something in a relationship or in life, life tells you a new story. So we are the creator of the stories that we live. And it's not that we have to live the stories that come from nowhere. We create the stories. So for me, that was my long answer to your question about my dad. And today I feel, yes, he's around. Whenever I think of him, it's a beautiful feeling. I don't feel loss. I don't feel pain. I don't feel nothing except, that is a beautiful relationship. And wherever he is, I know we're very close still together.
Oh, so beautiful, Eric. Such a beautiful, loving story. And just in terms of the quote that you've just said, it is a very favorite quote of mine as well. It goes something along the lines of, you are the story you tell yourself. So make sure it's a good one. So something along those lines.
Yeah.
That's very close. So, Eric, that's a very beautiful, happy ending story. But for those that are listening, and there might be a few listeners who may have perhaps a past grievance with somebody. So what steps, and if they haven't done the Raj Yoga course or they're not a meditator, but they're listening to this story, so what steps do you think they can take to perhaps forgive somebody or move on from any past grievance?
Well, I know there are many scenarios. Not two scenarios are the same. So some people have to deal with people who harmed them a lot. My dad didn't really harm me a lot. I was just a teenager, reacting to an adult going through life. He was trying his best, I think, to get money for the house and for us and for the family. Yeah, maybe he had his own thing, but it's not that I was abused or that he was hitting me or there was no violence, physically against me ever. So, once when I was a naughty boy as a kid, but nothing, So I know some people go through very, very difficult scenarios, totally different. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, all kind of scenarios that are complicated. So that could be a little bit different story and may not have the same happy ending. But, the underlying factor is always, what do I do to myself? Not what the other person is doing to me, but what am I doing to myself? And the example is always the same, very simple. If somebody, even slaps me, of course it's wrong, but the person will slap me once, but I would live that memory again and again, again and again. And I will remember that moment again and again. And I will repeat that moment in my head again and again. So yes, the person did one thing wrong, but what am I doing to myself by remembering, repeating, being angry about it, and replaying the scenario in my head again? And that's what I used to do with my dad. I used to hear him talking to me all the time in my head. Not all the time, but too many times. And I would still feel, well, he told me that. I should have told him this, or he should have told me that. This is wrong. He shall not say this. And I would replay the scenario 100 times in my head. Well, that is the beginning of me harming myself.
Yes.
And the first step I think anyone should take is my own self-respect. I have to take care of my own self and treat me, in a beautiful way. And that means I have to stop thinking about the past. Doesn't matter what the past is, it is past. So let me not create a present constantly stamped with the wounds and the hurt and the pain from the past, because that is me doing that to myself. Anyone, and I believe, of course, it can require help. I'm here to help. Everyone in the Brahma Kumaris are here to help. People will help to support anyone who decides, let me make the past the past. Full stop, finished. Now, what do I want to live in my present? Because my present is going to become my future. So let me try to have a new set of thinking, feelings, planning, determination, that I want to live my life free. I want to be free from that relationship, from that memory, because that only belongs to me. Even if the other person asks for forgiveness, even if the other person apologizes, doesn't mean I'm going to be healed. Even if the person changes his or her behavior, it's not going to put an end to what's happening in my head. And if it does, good, it's great. But should I really count on that, or should I base my present on the other person's behavior? I don't think so. The Rajaga philosophy says, be the master of your own mind. Generate the thoughts voluntarily that will create peace, love, and harmony and happiness in your head, in your mind, in your heart. So if I decide whatever happened is past, now in the present, what do I want to tell myself? And I want to say to myself, I am free. I'm not victim of the past. Whatever happened, I will transform it into something good. You know, I was yesterday night we had a concert, and I was enjoying beautiful music and thinking that those who composed that music were people with tremendous suffering, crazy life. Many big composers in classical music had crazy lives. How did they turn their pain into such a beautiful music that millions of people will enjoy afterwards? I say, oh, it's so beautiful. But where does it come from? From a broken heart, from terrible stories, from crazy heads. And they transform it into music that is so beautiful. So why don't we transform our past into a beautiful story? In my dad, the story ends very well. But even if it doesn't physically, why should I not make it end beautifully in my head? And the beautiful end for any story is those simple words, I am free. And who is going to set me free? Me. And if I really believe that I cannot be free until the other person apologizes or changes his or her behavior, I'm keeping the key of my jail in my heart and locking me in by myself when the key is right here in the heart saying, I am free. And whatever happened, it's past. Now I'm going to create a future based on my own goodness. And if I'm not good inside and I'm filled with anger and hate and grudges and vengeance and things, well, then I'm part of the problem too. And sorry, I know it's not that we want to hear. One who victimizes himself or herself never wants to hear that they are part of the problem, of course. It's only the fault of the other person. Well, sometimes we say, for the clap to be clapped, you need two hands. And so what is my responsibility? So I have to change first. That's what I believe that, and that's what Raj Yoga says, which is beautiful, is that if I change, the world would change. But I have to have the courage to change first. My dad didn't change much, in the first years when I became a yogi. But I didn't feel the same way about him anymore. And my change in me triggered a change in his way of talking to me. I was not aggressive anymore. I was not judgmental anymore. I was not holding vengeance and negative feelings. So his response to me changed. I had multiple examples at work when I used to be with the television broadcasting corporation. People doing really bad things, even to me. I was supposed to be the good guy, the nice yogi in the newsroom. And some people they wanted my job, they wanted my position, they were not happy with me as a boss or as a director. So yeah, some people did really nasty things. But I was so glad, with Rajaga, I would say, yeah, you did what you had to do. That's fine. That's your role. And it's good. In a movie, you need villains, it's good. And Batman without, I don't know who is his enemy, this penguin guy or whatever. Well, there's no Batman. If Batman is surrounded by loving people, doing good and offering him flowers, and where's the movie? There's no movie. So you need villains. So congratulations, I have villains in my life. Wonderful. I can do a great movie now. So whatever people do, that's their role in the movie. They are paid for that. That's why they came on Earth, to play that role. Well, congratulations, you're playing your role very well. But what is my role? What is my role? To get into a fight and to make it into a bigger story? Or is my role to be the wise little wizard? Joe, how's his name in the Star Wars? The little guy, Yoda, or a little Jedi, whatever, who it is. That's the role I want to play.
Yeah.
I want to play the role of the one who says, okay, yeah, you did that. It's interesting. It's very interesting you did that. I'm not going to judge you.
Mm.
I'm not going to hate you. And I'm not going to respond with anger. I'm going to respond with love.
Mm.
I'm going to give you the other cheek. I'm going to give you a rose if you give me a stone. Is
Mm.
that not, I think I heard that somewhere in church. Is it not what all religions are trying to tell us from thousands of years ago? You know, don't do to others what you wouldn't like others to do to you.
Yeah.
We heard all these things, but we don't put it into practice.
No. Yeah.
You know, Jesus, for me, when I was young, I really, and I still admire the life of Jesus. I think Jesus was an example for so many of us in a foreign lands, you know, in America, wherever we are, in places where we're raised as Catholic. For me, Jesus was an extremely beautiful figure. I
Mm.
used to watch the films on Jesus all the time, thinking I want to be like him. So I wanted to have long hair and big beard, and you know, that's a little limited way of being like Jesus. But I loved that character, how he loved people, how
Mm.
he didn't judge, how he was forgiving, how he said to them on the cross, you know, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
Mm.
I kept thinking, how can you say that? They're
Mm.
killing you.
Yeah.
People complain, oh, he didn't come for the appointment. Oh, he didn't give me the $5 he owed me.
Mm.
Well, he didn't put you on the cross and killed you. So chill out. It could be worse. Instead of not showing up for the appointment or not calling you because he said or she said she will call you, well, he didn't put you on a cross, you know, with nails on the hands and this. So chill out. Everything is fine. And Jesus just responded beautifully. I mean, beautifully, you know, with a very big heart.
Mm.
Forgive them.
Mm.
So, am I doing even 5% of that?
Yeah.
And I know I'm saying things, and I know when people go through extreme situation, it's difficult to hear, but
Mm.
I'm still master of my own life,
Mm.
regardless of what was done to me. If I wake up and say, okay, that's it,
Mm.
let me control what I do to me. Don't
Mm.
hurt myself. Don't curse myself.
Mm.
Don't think bad about my past, that
Mm.
something must be wrong with me because I went through something wrong. It
Mm.
doesn't work that way.
Mm.
Wrong things can happen to the best people in the world.
Mm.
You know, Roger Federer was the god of tennis. Well, he was carrying with his children and he fell in the bathtub and damaged his knee and put an end to his career.
Mm.
Good things happen to the greatest people. It
Mm.
doesn't mean they're bad. It
Mm.
just happened.
Mm.
So whatever people go through, I would say, yes, first do good to yourself
Mm.
and use that word, I am free. And when we start to declare, I'm free from this,
Mm.
that will generate the reality,
Mm.
not to wait for the reality to create the conclusion, I'm free. No, use the I'm free to generate the story.
Mm.
And that's what I've been doing for the past 40 years in many other small stories.
Mm.
I settle it in my head first, and then I watch
Mm.
how my thinking, my feelings create the reality.
Mm. Yeah. So in that example of your dad when you were a teenager, and I don't know what people are going through, but if there is a scenario in front of them where somebody, you know, holds their collar and is just about to hit them, or if somebody is literally shouting and getting angry at them, like how are they meant to respond? Yes, you do say, I am free, and you want to show forgiveness and kindness, but in that heated moment, is there like something that people can do? Is it or just walk away, or what is it that you're suggesting?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there are many options. That's why I'm saying it's complicated when the scenarios can be so diverse. You know, if it's your child that drives you crazy,
Yeah.
well, you can't just run away. It's just that saying to your child at 10 years old, okay, that's enough. Mom is tired. Enjoy your life. I'm moving on. I mean, I don't think it would be proper. But if it's your boyfriend or girlfriend that you've been with for the past 2 years, and the last 2 years have been just hell, it might be wise to say, you know, let's meet in another birth and maybe it will be better. But maybe there's no point in doing that relationship. If you're in a relationship for 25 years and you have 3 kids, well, the scenario will be different again. So every scenario is different. But the thing is, if I say I'm free, why am I saying this is important is because I believe what I need to do is to find a way to dig into my own inner powers. Every soul has energy. That energy, we call it power. We can call it energy. And that energy can become peace, can become love, can become happiness, can become purity. That's the energy we're looking for. And so if I connect with my own self, with the right thinking and the thinking of being free, of being, I'm in control, I'm the master, I'm the one who's going to decide what's going to happen to me. When I use this kind of thinking, I'm opening the door in myself to allow my inner strength to come up again. When I say, oh, he or she is wrong, it should not have happened, I'm angry, oh, I'm so sad, oh, it's so bad, oh, I'm so disappointed. What I'm doing is that I'm drinking poison. These thoughts are poisonous thoughts, and they weaken my own being. They put me in a weak position. Physically, it's proved. It's proven, I say, it's proved that if I have negative thoughts, my immune system, my body is going to feel, it's going to react. It's not a belief system. This is proved, that positive thinking. When I work with many people at my work in palliative care, in different things, they always say the same thing. If somebody has cancer, they can tell right away who is going to go through and who is going to die from it. Some people have the minding and they go for it and they survive because they use power. I'm not saying that positive thought is not going to cure cancer. That's what I'm saying. But the attitude, the minding, the thoughts change the way body reacts. So if I say I'm free, I'm helping my inner power to come up. And so what will happen is that one of the power is also called self-respect. So should I stay in that situation which is harming me, or should I move away from it? And self-respect may say to yourself, I've tried my best, but it doesn't work. So I'm sorry, but I have to go away. Or I can say peacefully to someone, instead of shouting at the person, whatever you're going through, whatever you're doing to me, I'm not going to judge you. But for me, it's not acceptable anymore. I cannot live. This is not my principles. So I cannot allow this situation to continue for me, for my own sake. And so I'm going to either move away or I'm going to change and I'm going to be a little bit silent, or I'm not going to respond or whatever. But the right thoughts will come if I remain peaceful. That's what I believe. That if I'm peaceful for a certain amount of time, then I'm giving my brain, my mind, my intellect, I'm giving my head the proper setting to come up with the best thought. If I'm angry, well, maybe I'll come up with a good thought, but chances are when I'm angry, that the wrong thoughts are coming up. I'm losing discernment when I'm angry. If I'm angry, stressed, I have anxiety, negative feeling, it's clouding, it's really fogging my mind. And it's not easy to make a decision. So that's why we say, whatever happens, first go and sit down peacefully. By saying to the self, I'm free, that means, let's relax. And I have the thought, I'm taking control of myself. That's good. Now, what do I want? I want peace. I want love. I want harmony. So, and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do it if I nurture self-respect, because self-respect will know how to keep a balance between being loving, but being lawful, being strict. I will love you, but this behavior is not going to be acceptable. I don't have to tolerate everything. I don't have to say yes to any situation in the name of spirituality. No, my self-respect will give me a much better judgment, discernment. I will be able to recognize right and wrong, and I will be able to have a better sense of how to say things so it comes out the right way. The problem in suffering is that what makes me suffer generates in me a response that will create more suffering. If somebody shouts at you and you shout back with insult, what do you expect? That's what they call throw oil in the fire. What do you expect? If you throw oil in the fire, it's going to increase the fire. If you throw water on the fire, well, the law says the fire will go down. And so it's the same thing. There's an abusive situation. Okay, it happened. Should I throw oil or should I throw water on the situation? And the only way to throw water is to go deep inside. And this is not impossible. Anyone can go to a Raj Yoga center, find it, and tell them, I'm crazy. My head is exploding. Please help me. Say, yes. Okay, let's sit down and let's go back to square one. Let's go back to square one. Who am I? What am I? What am I going to do? And if I say I'm free, I want to feel, sometimes, for me in the morning, sometimes I am again, like busy with something, or, in French, you say you go out of the bed on the wrong foot, you start with the wrong thinking. It happens to me, but I know quickly I have to change my thinking. And a funny thought that I use for me is I'm on holiday. I'm retired now, but when I used to work, I used to create the thought, oh, I'm on holiday. I used to because I wanted to recreate the feeling I have on a Friday afternoon when I turn off I lock the door of the office and I know I'm leaving for the beaches of Cuba somewhere. I know that feeling. I know how it feels to be on holiday. It's like to be free. So sometimes I use that thought, oh no, Eric, you're like on holiday today. Just create that feeling I'm on holiday. It's a trigger to change my feeling. So what I'm saying is that when I come to a Raj Yoga center or when I want to change my head and say, okay, whatever happens, I'm free. Let me have new thoughts. Let me create new thoughts. If you create a thought, whatever happened is okay. I'm sure many people who are angry don't have those thoughts. And if you were to tell them, is it okay? Whatever happened is okay. They say, no, it's not okay. You're right. But by saying it is not okay, you are adding oil on the fire. So accept that whatever happened. You cannot change the past. So whatever happened, okay, fine. It happened. Now, what do I do? Let's move on. How do I do? How do I respond? Do I want to be, the victim, angry, shouting at the perpetrator? Or do I want to be the wise little, the wise soul, the wise yogi, thinking, oh, I have to go through my test now. I have a little exam to pass. Let me see what is the right way to do it. And I would say the safe zone to build from is to always go back to, what does self-respect say to me? Listen to the voice of self-respect. And it's not a self-respect that says usually, you're bad, go away. No, that's judgment. It's not self-respect. Let's listen to the voice of self-respect talking to me, saying, you're a good person, you're a good soul. You went through something bad, you went through something difficult. Be okay. You'll be okay. You're a great soul. You have inner powers beyond what you can imagine. Something has been put into you for eternity. And that secret little tool, that little, in a fantasy story or in the Walt Disney story, the hero finds a little magic tool, usually a divine sword, or a magic something, a potion or whatever, a lamp or something that you move the lamp and your genie comes out. Well, each soul has a little magic inside that belongs to me. And that's my original essence of truth. that is given to every soul. Every soul has that magic. This is called life. This is why we're alive. It could be my conscience. It could be my gifts of life, my virtues, my powers, my speciality, whatever. It's there. So when I say I'm okay, I'm calling my inner sparkle to shine, you know. So I have to say to myself, I'm okay. I'll be okay. Whatever happened is okay. It's fine. Now let me move on. What should I do? And let me do good. If I want to receive good, let me do good. So no vengeance, no hate, no anger, no grudges. This is not good for me. It's not, doesn't matter about the other. It's just not good for me. Stop drinking poison. Start drinking nectar. The poison of vengeance is terrible. And I say that because I drank a lot of that poison. And I hurt myself badly with silly little things and with bigger things. You know, my dad is not an exceptional story, but I did make my life miserable by hating my dad. And the worst thing is that I was hating someone that was a fantasy in my head. He was not my real dad. When I came to know my real dad, I realized he's not worthy of my hate. You know, he's a lovable soul as well. I missed that. I missed it for a very important part of my life, my youth. And if I love my mom too, but if I had a yogi mom, if my mom had been a little bit more yogi, she would have not told me how to hate my dad. I don't blame her. I just say this is something that I recognize today. And I would say, no, if my mom had been a yogi, she would have shown me the path to self-respect, the path of forgiveness, the path of, you know, putting my head into a space where I'm helping my head to be feeling good by telling myself right things, not terrible, toxic thoughts. I know those thoughts are justified. I know they are normal. I know they're human, but they're not aligned with my inner sparkle of life that has been given to me as a gift. I'm the trustee of that little gift of life. You know, the story of the little prince is such a beautiful story because it's poor little boy. He has to go around many planets and finally the planet Earth to realize that he has to look after his rose and that his rose is what he has the most important thing in life. And all he has to do is to pay attention to that rose. Well, of course, it's a metaphor. There's no planet with a rose somewhere in the Little Prince. But it says I have to pay attention to that sparkle of life that has been given to me. And I have to cherish it as if it is my own child, as if it is my own little baby. You know, if you have a baby, and I know you had babies that are very, very big now, but when you have a baby, tell me the mother is not protective. You hold your baby, you don't want anything to happen to it. You're protective, like nothing should happen. It shouldn't fall, shouldn't get hurt. You're protecting it. Well, I think the sparkle of life, which is given to us, is an eternal baby. And we should look after it all the time. This is the most precious thing. If I don't pay attention to my own inner soul, my love, my peace, my harmony, who is going to look after it? No one. Even your husband, even your child, even your mom. At some point, I have to look after my own rose, my own spirit, my own heart. And I'm responsible. And what the Little Prince story was telling us is what is essential cannot be seen with the eyes, but it could be felt by the heart. That's why in meditation, we sit in silence and try to tell the head, get out, you know, everybody out. It's like if you move into your inner house here and you say to your dad and your husband and your children and whoever lives in your head, you tell everyone in your head, everybody out. This is my head. And I want to be alone in my head and I don't want anybody in my head. So everybody out. I'm going to have a moment of silence with myself. Can you do that? That's what we need to do. And then when we're in that silence, then we start to rebuild that self-respect. And then when you feel your head is empty, you will see it's so enjoyable. That you don't let people walk back in as if nothing happened. No, 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 no. They came out, you stay out. And if you come in, there will be a proper meeting, and it will be time, for 10 minutes, for half an hour. You sit, we talk. I will create that conversation. And when it's over, thank you very much. Go back to your head. I stay in mine. And it really works. I mean, it sounds easy, but it is.
Yes.
I wouldn't be here talking about it, honestly. I didn't practice it seriously. Because there was a lot of people. My dad is one story, but there were many other stories. So I had to evacuate a lot of toxic waste about all kind of things.
That's good. That's just amazing. I love that analogy, Eric, that there's so many squatters living in our head and we have to get them out one by one. Such a beautiful way that you describe it. Yeah. So, Eric, you've now been practicing meditation, and there's no surprise to anybody listening that there are many, many numerous benefits of it. And, dealing with relationships, forgiving, and all sorts of things are part and parcel of it. But before we go into those, if you could just describe what kind of a leader you are, because you are managing a large team in Brahma Kumaris, Canada. So what kind of a leader do you think you are?
Well, I'm a leader trying to lead myself. I'm a leader trying to be coherent with my own expectation of life for myself. And I think that the leader, recently I was thinking about it, and I was appreciating that the leader should have 3 postures that he need to practice. And I think a good leader could be the one in the front of a group. So the one that shows example, enthusiasm, drive, has a drive. So people want to follow you and feel, oh, I'm following him because he seems to know where he's going. And when I was at CBC, they always used to, and even in the Brahma Kumaris, many people say that I have the art of engaging people in a vision and bringing them there, because that's my enthusiasm. I see something, I have enthusiasm. I try to encourage people to go that way. So the leader could be in the front, inspiring other people to follow. I believe that equally the good leader should learn to be in the middle, right in the heart of everyone else. And then he becomes not the leader, but he becomes the company. The one that is like everybody else. Exactly, I'm one of yours. I'm not different because I'm in the front. I'm actually right here with you, and we're all going together. And I'm supportive. I'm just a support. I'm sustaining other people in their journey, but they are leading themselves. And then the third posture for me is when you're at the back, behind everybody else. And you use your humility, your kindness towards others, that you really lead people by making them leaders. And if you're leading by making everybody a follower, I would question that kind of leadership. It's a leadership that probably protects his ranking and his superiority. I prefer the leader that has this multiple facet, where you inspire, you accompany, and you generate energy that support people to move forward on their own and know how to lead themselves. So I would, I don't know if I'm like this, but this is the image I keep of what it means to be a leader.
Beautiful.
But the truth is that when people say sometimes, oh, he's the coordinator of Canada for the Brahma Kumaris, I say, no, 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 no. The Brahma Kumaris Canada is coordinating themselves so they can contain me in a proper way. So they are coordinating me. I'm not coordinating anyone. And because of the role we play, we become better. Like it's in difficult situations, you have a chance to become much greater. And so for me, the situation where, yes, by being coordinator, of a big group, you end up negotiating a lot of conflicts, problems, situations, decision, this and the other. But I used to find all the time, yeah, this is a good challenge for me to know, am I practicing the values that I'm teaching? Am I really looking at others with the love that I'm saying we should have for others? So for me, leadership is really about being in the house of mirrors, you know, in those places where you go and then all the mirrors always reflect you, and you don't know if you can go through or if it's a blockage. So I really feel that for me, leadership is about the balance between, yes, being useful for other people, but never losing sight about, hey, you know, the main thing is, am I in control of this little guy here? And he's the tough guy to control and to lead and to be a leader of. So first, leader of the self, I think, allows a better leadership in the outside.
And you know, you talked about dealing with different personalities. And so do you think now, of course, after 40 years of meditation, it comes naturally in terms of maintaining calmness. But for those that are starting out, like what advice would you give to those people who are dealing with different personalities in terms of maintaining their calmness?
Well, I would say it's like eating. It doesn't matter if you're eating for the last 50 years, you still have to keep eating. So it's not because, oh, I've been eating 3 meals a day for 10 years. That's it. I'm done now. No, you have to eat every day, 2 or 3 times a day, and pay attention to your diet. And that doesn't change. So for me, yes, it's been 40 years, but I still have to pay attention. I'm not done. I'm not, it's not that I wake up in the morning, everything is fine, and I have no efforts to make. Every day I have to pay attention. So every day, it doesn't matter. Don't believe that because somebody is a great, I mean, some are gifted, rare, you know, just a few. We have our seniors in the Brahma Kumaris. We call them the daddies. And I know you've been talking, or I've been talking about Daddy Prakashmani or Daddy Janki. Well, these are exceptional people. They are really, really, really exceptional people. They are gifted. I don't know what would be the right word, but they are bigger than nature. You know, they're just abnormal, huge size souls. Okay, fine. Jesus probably was one of them, the Buddha, and many other souls. I feel unfortunately, I'm just like one of the other, and I have to do my own thing every day, and it doesn't. You know, just a little in bracket. My uncle was a genius, right? So he was a prodigy, and at the age of 4 and 5, he was playing, composing piano. So I had his piano in my bedroom. And I swear, I mean, I did that 2 or 3 times. Sometime I would think, maybe I have the genie in me too. So I would go on a piano, close my eyes, and I did that once in the middle of the night. And I thought, maybe it's in the middle of the night that the genius will come into me. And I went to the piano, closed my eyes, and I went, you know, thinking maybe it will work. And it, of course, created a bad sound that woke up everybody. I said, what are you doing? I said, I don't know, maybe genius will come in me, but it never showed up. So I used to say, I'm the proof that genius is not transmitted, you know, through the blood. So Daddy Janki, Daddy Prakashmani, extra large size souls, fine. I'm not that. I'm an ordinary one, and I have to do my own work. Unfortunately, it doesn't come as a gift. So yeah, we have to do the work. So I would say to everyone, it's the same thing. Eat well, spiritually. Pay attention to your mental diet. What are you eating mentally? And change your diet. Junk food is compulsive, is addictive, and is very damaging. And one who is into junk food finds it very difficult to stop. I see sometimes kids, young kids, with a challenge physically. And I look at what they're eating and thinking, wow, that's not going to help. And who am I to judge? So, okay, feeling of compassion, I hope they can find the strength to change the diet. I've known people in my family and in my life with a problem with alcohol. Once you start being alcoholic, wow, it's not like it's not easy. It's tremendously difficult to stop drinking or smoking, taking drugs. Drugs is a huge. I went to East Africa. Everyone came to me and said, "What can we do to help our youth? Because there's so many problems with drugs." So having negative thoughts, eating wrong food mentally is like a addictive behavior. Judging, I used to judge a lot of people, just the way they will dress. I would judge them. Oh, with that kind of dress, that person must be not very bright. Hello? They say, well, where did you get that thought from? That was the pattern of my thoughts. I used to judge people just on the way they would speak, or if they were told, if I was told that they haven't finished their university, I would say, well, yeah, poor guy. Where does this judgment come from?
Yeah.
So we have a pattern of negative thoughts, ordinary thought, wasteful thoughts, all kind of thoughts. They're junk thoughts. And I would say to anyone who starts, or anyone who is doing it for 40 or 50 years, which they are, pay attention to your mental diet. What am I eating in my head? And I should evaluate. If you see the doctor, they will ask you, what are you eating? Are you eating a lot of sugar? Are you taking alcohol? Are you smoking? Are you doing this? Are you eating that? And some doctor will say you should stop, sugar. You should stop salt. You should stop fat food or whatever. And then you go, oh. When the doctor tells you, if you continue to eat this, you're going to die in 6 months. Well, that may be an incentive to stop eating it. But should we wait until the doctor says you're going to die if you continue to stop? It's a little wiser to. So spirituality is just about changing my diet of thinking, having more good, healthy thoughts. This is what really spirituality is all about. Is paying attention to the quality of my thoughts and my feelings, knowing that I am what I think. I'm nothing more than what I think. That's it. And if I can change my thoughts, I change who I am, and I change what happens to me, because one is the consequence of the other. So where do we start? Very simple. They say sometimes, show me what you're eating, I'll tell you who you are. Spirituality, we say, well, tell me what you're thinking, I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
And no one has an excuse, not me, certainly, but nobody else has an excuse to say, oh, I cannot change my thoughts. No. Who creates thoughts? I create my thoughts. You may need help to change your thoughts. That's true. Maybe you cannot do it alone. That's true. That's why we have meditation centers to say to people, come. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it could be fun, and it could be very exciting to learn to change my thoughts. And I've been sharing so many times, how simple thought. I don't know, I always give that example because for me, it works so well. When I used to realize, I keep thinking, I hate doing dishes. For a strange reason, I never managed to have a dishwasher in my apartment. There's never space available, and I'm an old man. No, I'm not so old, but with my age, I still don't have dishwasher. I failed in life. I don't have dishwasher. I confess, it's complete failure. So I've been washing dishes my whole life with my hands. And for 10 decades, I've been, how to say, grumpy about it. I have dishes to do. Oh, people will leave and I was, I have the dishes to do. Oh, I don't like it. Honestly, even as a good yogi, I would have that thought until, I don't know, a few years ago, I realized, why am I having that thought?
Yes.
If I have the thought, I hate doing dishes, it's going to make, making dishes more difficult. So I voluntarily created a very untrue thought. I love making dishes. This is my favorite thing. Doing dishes, oh, I love it. It's like a game. No, you have to put things together and you have to find a way to use less water. So what do you start with? How do you stop wasting? How do you be efficient? Or find a little spot that the dishwasher will never find. I will find it. I'm expert dishwasher living in a body. I'm a living dishwasher. I started creating those thoughts. Stupid. Didn't say end to anyone, and now I'm telling you. It changed my relationship with washing dishes. And today, whenever I need to wash dishes, I say, yeah, I love it. I like it. It's fun. I like to wash dishes. And I'm happy when I'm washing dishes.
Yeah.
No one can change my thoughts. I'm the only one who can change my thoughts. That's an easy little example. But I realized how many things I can change like this. When I used to say to myself, oh, I'm not good at this. No, don't ask me to do this. I'm not good. It's not a good thought. Why don't I create the thought, I love to learn. I'm a good learner. I love to learn. So teach me. It's a way more positive thought that generates a good feeling and makes me do things with joy. Otherwise, I do things in pain, but I inflicted the pain upon me. No one told me you hate doing dishes. No, I said that to myself. So how many thoughts am I using that are the wrong thoughts, creating the wrong feelings? I used to think a lot because, yogis don't sleep too much. And sometimes, there's a lack of sleep. And sometimes I'm just playing too much tennis. So both together is a bad mix. And sometimes I used to think, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so tired. And thinking that way makes you more tired. Until the day I suddenly had the thought, I said, why am I saying this? I'm hitting myself with that thought all the time. So, and I know I shared that with you, but I said to myself, oh, I'm going to sleep so well tonight. And if you create that thought, first, you feel less tired. Because when you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to sleep so well tonight, that thought actually is very pleasant. Because you're already projecting yourself in your bed and you're sleeping very well. So it's a very enjoyable thought. And secondly, you're premeditating this fascinating moment that will happen in the evening. When after telling yourself 100 times during the day, I'm going to sleep so well tonight. Well, imagine when you approach your bed in the evening, you just walk like the final episode of your day, which is the best episode of your day. Your bed is calling you with open arms, and you've been telling your bed for the whole day, you are going to be so kind to me tonight, and I'm going to sleep so well. So your bed feels like a beautiful open bouquet of roses, and you're going to lie down on this bouquet of roses, and you're going to sleep so well. So you diminish the tiredness during the day, and you premeditated a wonderful moment. Instead of saying all day, oh, I'm tired, and in the evening when you're so tired, you don't even look at your bed, you just dive into it as if you were going to die in your coffin, and you just sleep like an unconscious person, thinking you're going to be feeling better next day. How can you feel better next day after having 1,000 thoughts, how tired I am? Well, you program your tiredness for the next 6 months without knowing it. So changing my mind is the first step. That's what we teach in meditation. Start with one thought at a time. Find a thought that generates new ideas, new hope. Hey, I'm free. I'm powerful. I know what to do. I'm a good soul. I'm a good person. I can change my life. I will change my life. Starting today, that's it. Starting today. How many times I told myself from today onwards, this is it. Okay, 2 days later, I fail again. Never mind, start again. Don't give up. Just be courageous. Tell yourself every day, yeah, from today, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'm just, poisoning myself.
Yes, definitely. So, Eric, a lot of people today are overthinking, but the biggest words that I hear a lot is FOMO. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but it's FOMO, meaning fear of missing out. They just want to grasp everything. In the world of social media and so much digital content that people are consuming, you just talked about content. But FOMO is like the biggest word. You know, they're all on this hamster wheel and they want to keep chasing because they keep thinking that they're going to miss out on something. What do you have to tell those people?
Well, I'm a storyteller, so I'll tell you a story.
Story.
And, you know, my story is that I used to go and watch the sunset a lot, or sunrise, but I used to be more sunset as a young person.
Yeah.
And for a strange reason, whenever I would see a beautiful scene in nature, I would feel a little bit sad or a little bit melancholic. And I never understood. I thought that was all right. Whenever I would listen to a beautiful piece of music, I would feel, oh, it's so beautiful. Why is it that I'm feeling a little bit sad inside of me?
Mm.
And I was always, so it wouldn't be the same feeling exactly that you talk about, but I never understood what happened. And then one day, I remember I was again here in Montreal. We have a little mount in a city called the Mount Royal.
Mm.
And it's a beautiful little mountain, but tiny, but it's right downtown. And I was at the top of the mountain watching a sunset. And it was one of the most beautiful sunset I think I was seeing, with the colors and the birds. And there was a moment where I felt uplifted.
Mm.
Wanted to cry badly. And I thought, what's wrong with me? You
Mm.
know, this is a beautiful scene,
Mm.
but what I feel is pain. I feel sorrow. I feel melancholy. I feel something. And then that's when one day I realized why I had that feeling. And the realization for me was, well, the beauty that you see outside,
Mm.
you want badly to have it inside, but you don't.
Ah.
And that's why I'm sad, because I want that, as if I was trying to own
Mm.
what was outside of me,
Mm.
thinking that if I own it, it will make me happy. It would make me that. But if
Mm.
I own the sunset,
Mm.
it doesn't make me a sunset.
Mm.
I have to create a sunset in me,
Mm.
own it, right?
Yes.
So I cannot be satisfied with
Mm.
anything that I can get from the outside. That
Mm.
was my thinking. No, what I'm missing
Mm. Mm.
is my inner being
Mm.
reveal itself in the beauty of
Mm.
what I'm chasing after. So when I'm chasing after a good car, after a good relationship, after a nice ice cream or a sunset, I believe I'm chasing after a part of me that I'm missing badly.
Mm.
And that part within me, which I can call my inner nature,
Mm.
is not as beautiful as the nature I'm seeing outside, which
Mm.
I want to own, which I want to be. So
Mm.
the day I realized that, I realized, oh, I need to find my own inner sunset,
Mm.
and I need to fall in love with that.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
when I see the beauty in me being restored,
Mm.
I won't need anything from outside.
Mm.
I would appreciate it. I would be very happy to see it, but I
Mm.
will not feel that I need more, that I didn't have enough, or I need to repeat
Mm.
what I'm experiencing at that moment. That's called living. When they say live the moment, you know, live in the now.
Mm.
But to live in the now means I don't want now to be longer or shorter.
Mm.
I don't feel that the now should have happened before. And I don't feel that the now is not happening often enough. That's called living in the now. And
Mm.
so for me, it's connected about that fear of losing something or missing something or not having something. It's actually the fear comes from the disconnection with my original inner being,
Mm.
which is the source of
Mm.
all well-being, of all blooming soul. You know, my soul
Mm.
should bloom in beauty,
Yes.
but a flower can bloom only if you give the flower a little bit of water, some minerals, a bit of sun.
Mm.
Otherwise, the flower will remain a seed
Mm.
and it will never grow. So, how many seeds do I have in me
Mm.
that I didn't water yet?
Mm. Yes, that's true.
So, if I water those seeds, they will grow and they will bloom.
Mm.
And I would feel, wow, this is incredible. It's in me. So
Mm.
today, I don't need a sunset
Mm.
to be in awe with life.
Mm.
I celebrate life honestly every day,
Mm.
just having a few moments sometimes of awareness. My awareness, my conscience,
Mm.
consciousness, it's all connected, the awareness, the conscience, and the consciousness. When these are just enlightened,
Mm.
you don't need to own anything. You don't need to chase after everything.
Mm.
And the problem, like now, I feel that it's like the problem with the cell phones.
Mm. Oh,
I really
yes.
think that the owner, I mean, bless you for giving us those magic tools. I love them very much. Thank you very much. But do you really think that the owner of these big companies want you to be very happy in life?
Mm.
But do you think that they may want you to buy another phone? And I know it's a stupid comment, but do you think they will want to make a phone that lasts 25 years in such a way that you never have to buy another phone for 25 years?
Mm.
Or
Yeah.
do we have that little cynical thought that they would be very happy if their phone is obsolete after 3 years? So you buy another one.
Mm.
And I think, without being cynical or into those kind of how to call it conspiracy theory, not there. But I understand today that, and I'm saying from my own experience, I have a very nice phone. That there is a temptation.
Mm.
You keep seeing those little ads. The new Samsung came out. Oh yeah, what it is, Oh, what does it do? Oh, it can do that. Oh, it can open up. Soon you're going to be ironing your clothes with your phone. And you're going to be cooking with your phone. I don't know what else we're going to do with our phones, but the other day I was telling to someone, oh, you see, I have
Eric,
this new,
washing dishes. That would be good for you.
I'll be washing dishes with my phone. I'll put it in a sink and it will wash the dishes on its own. And I was telling someone, yes, the other day, I say, oh, I have a new camera and it takes very nice pictures. And I said, oh, no, it's called a phone. It's not a camera. So we forgot. This is very useful to talk, but we do everything but talk to people anymore. We just leave messages. So when we see all these little ads, the new is coming out and this new thing, I want, and I feel that if I don't have the latest one, I'm a loser.
Mm. Yes.
I know the power when you have a good phone and you take a nice picture and oh, what phone do you have? Oh,
Mm.
well, I have the latest iPhone, or the latest this.
Mm.
Hey, where are we going with that?
No.
What's wrong with our heads? I
Mm.
think today we should feel I'm a greater person if I can say to someone, I don't have a phone. What? Oh, I have, but it's a very old one. It's just to call people. You call someone and you talk to somebody. That's what I have a phone for.
Mm.
I know young people will never go for it
Mm.
on the latest model and everything, and they're totally addicted to it.
Mm.
But this is the feeling you're talking about, is that we're scared
Mm.
of losing something by not having everything.
Mm.
That's a dysfunctional mind
Mm.
chasing after more when actually less is better.
Mm.
If we apply that to food,
Mm.
you have a problem. One day, some good yogi told me eating is not about how much you're eating,
Mm.
it's about how much you're enjoying each mouthful
Mm.
that you're eating.
Mm.
So the person told me, chew slowly, eat slowly, enjoy every mouthful, and eat little, and you'll be more satisfied.
That's
And
true.
in eating, I mean, unless you're young and, that's a little different thing. I used to eat a lot when I was a very young teenager. That's okay. But in adult life, I would say if you want more of food,
Mm.
it's a signal that, yeah, there's a little bit of greed and, the mouth is taking over
Mm.
the needs of the body. The body doesn't need that much.
Mm.
And it's better, usually, a smaller portion that we enjoy fully contented in happiness than eating more, which is just feeling greed. And
Mm.
then there will be sleepy, then you feel, then getting weight and all these things. So same pattern.
Mm.
And so the fear of losing, or the fear of not having enough, or the fear of not being at the edge of life is made by addiction. We're addicted to possessions when we should be addicted to silence, to space, to little. That is very nice. It's much better. I used to have a lot of things around. COVID did that to my head. I don't know why, but I opened all the cupboards and I said, there are way too many things in there. And I emptied them all and I keep everything light. And now when I open a cupboard and it's just a few things essential, it feels good. I feel free. It's compatible with my freedom from earlier. I feel free. I don't get busy with too many things. So yeah, this feeling that you're talking about should be changed by thinking, where am I connecting with my inner being? And am I giving more importance to watching my being blooming? And I can say at that time, that's really what I own. And more than that, this is what I'm going to live with when I leave my body. Because everything else is not going to come with me. Even my relationship, my husband, my wife, my parents, my children, they're not going to come with me. But what I created in me, my inner sunset, that will stay with me forever. My inner contentment, my inner peace, that will stay with me forever. And that I own it. This is the only thing I can say. I own it. This is mine. My inner peace, my inner love, my contentment. I feel if we can cherish that more, it's a foundation to be free from the dependency. Acquiring things, acquiring people. People say you're eating your emotion. That's how they call overeating. Sometimes you're eating your emotion. Well, phone is an addiction these days, where we feel that by having the proper phone, we have better life, which is so untrue and so wrong. And so, yeah.
It's good marketing out there by a lot of bigger companies and bigger corporates that, yeah. And another word, I mean, because like you've been in CBC for a big part of your career, and, you've grown in that industry, and you've been the director, you've been the producer. Have you ever seen your newer colleagues, especially, because it's a very big thing right now, it's called the imposter syndrome. So a lot of my friends, especially the youngsters that I meet today, they're all like, I don't know if we belong here. We feel like we've got an imposter syndrome. And, I'm like, well, if you've been chosen for a particular role, or if you've been given a promotion, or if you are in the area, in the job that you are, there's no such thing as an imposter syndrome. But a lot of people feel that they're imposters. What do you have to say to them?
Well, I feel that a lot of changes happen in the workplace, and one of them is moving from a one-dimensional career into a multi-dimensional career. And I've read studies that now people, younger generation, enter the workforce, knowing that they may not have the same profession their whole life. Not only they will change companies and employers, but they may even change their profession altogether multiple times. That was not the case in my generation. In my generation, when you become a doctor, you're a doctor for the rest of your life. But today, even I've seen nurses suddenly changing completely career, becoming advisor, becoming real estate people, becoming advisor for a politician. Say, whoa, what happened? You were a nurse, and now you're not even a nurse anymore. So very strong profession don't remain anymore. So the fabric of society has become so fragile, so different than what it was before, that we are not working with solid blocks of reality, but with multiple little pieces of reality. And what we've lost is a sense of belonging. And I think that we lost the sense of belonging to ourselves. We lost the sense of belonging to a community. And we lost the sense of belonging to the world. So when we go into a little block of people doing the same thing. We wonder, is this me? Do I belong here? And nobody gets the feeling of belonging anyway, because they've seen people passing in and out, in and out, in and out so much that you don't welcome somebody anymore. Oh, welcome to the company. We hope you do a career with us for your whole life. No. Say, who are you? What are you doing here? Oh, how long have you been here? 3 months? Oh. You know, when I started a position at CBC, they gave me a different position, which was good. It was a big position in difficult, the newsroom. But when I arrived, they told me, Eric, don't get excited. Yeah, you got a good job. Everyone before you barely lasted a year or two. So don't get too excited about your position. I said, well, thank you very much. That's very, very welcoming, you know, like don't get overexcited. You won't last more than a year or two anyway. And so apparently after 4 years, they told me, you broke all the records. Nobody ever stayed that long in that position. It was very tough, you know, with a lot of people, a lot of conflicts and stress and long hours, everything. So I think a yogi could last a little longer. But to me, it was like, yes, the syndrome of feeling like we're an imposter is natural because we're into pieces. Nothing is in peace anymore. So it's just pieces here and there. And the sense of belonging comes from the letting go of owning my identity based on what I'm doing. And we've been creating that habit that I am what I do. I'm a doctor, I'm a producer, I'm a journalist. And then that became our identity. And today what happened is that because society has changed, economic has changed, so people lose their job all the time. And so they lose their identity. Suddenly they don't know who they are and who they belong to. You know, if you're a minister one day and a sinister next day, it's a different situation. And some people don't know how to cope with change of identity. So they don't get the buzz from their job because the identity is so temporary. So they don't get the buzz, oh, I belong, this is what I am. But they get the fear that if I don't belong here, where do I belong? And so they feel, well, I'm just an imposter here. I'm just maybe, you know, not the right person for the right position or the right job. But I think it's a global phenomenon, you know, particularly in countries like America, or I mean, what they call developed countries, Europe, North America, pushing productivity, identification with what I do. And spirituality has the beauty of telling us you're not what you do. You know, you do what you are. It's a very different thing. And you better pay attention to who you are. So you improve what you do and don't do the other way around. People base their identity on what they do. And that's where we got really disconnected with our inner self. And then the sense of belonging is gone. You know, in the past, I believe what we did was connected with more values. So the sense of identifying with our doing was less damageable. I was identifying with higher values. To be, maybe it's totally cliche and I may be totally wrong here. I don't know. I'm not talking based on studies. But when I look at, you know, there was a word that I love very much for me. It's the word noble. Something noble about every profession before. You know, many professions were a little bit more noble. It was more not an altruistic thing, but the doctor who would come to your home with his little briefcase, and he will walk from his office to your home, and he will walk into your home, and he will be your family doctor for, you know, we would have cured your grandmother, your mother, and now you, and he will bring in your home the aura of medicine and miracle and health, you know? And that doctor will bring more than just his knowledge. There was something like that. Today, I got a call the other day from the office of my doctor. They want to see me for preventive whatever checkup. I know it's going to last 2 minutes. I'm not cynical again, but I know for these 2 minutes, he's going to get a big chunk of money because he can click one more, and the government pays the doctor on the basis of how many consultation he has. Last time I went, he barely talked to me for 5 minutes. And I thought, well, that is a very quick consultation. So I could be dead tomorrow. He wouldn't know something is wrong with me. He barely just took the pressure, asked me if I was okay, if I had something. No, fine, okay, bye-bye. And I said, yeah, I have a few worries. Oh, no, you're fine, just next, please. I said, well, okay, well. So what I'm saying is that before, today, as a journalist, our reputation is terrible. Most people hate the media. The media is responsible for all the problems in the world. Well, there was a time when I started my career 40 years ago, being a journalist was a big thing. It was a very noble position. You're doing good to society. You're informing, you're preventing dictatorship, you're preventing anarchy in a society by holding the truth in the eye of the public. Today, we have stupid journalists chasing after a stupid thing. I know it's been there for a long time, but we lost nobility in certain professions. So people lose faith, and then we lose pride in the identity of our profession. So I'm not saying it should be that we identify ourselves with our profession, but before, at least, by being identifying ourselves with our profession, we're identifying with something a little bit higher. Now, today, everything is wrong, everything is bad, everything is... So we lost our identity, and whatever identity we create has no substance. So that's why the sense of belonging is gone. And yeah, people wonder, am I here? Should I be there? Should I be somewhere else? Nobody wants me here. Nobody tells me they want me here. They just treat me as a number. I've been dealing a lot with human resources departments in corporations. It's terrible. This is usually the department with the biggest rollover or kind of changeover, whatever. So human resources in where I used to work, they call it unhuman resources. Most people would say, no, these are unhuman resources. They don't treat you like a human anymore. It's sad. It's really, really sad,
It's pretty sad. But I guess they have to, I think those people who are feeling that way, though, just, again, should come back to their inner core and just believe.
Yeah, it's the question, what am I doing? Or am I doing what I am? And if we reversed the equation, then the sense of belonging becomes natural. I belong to the world. I don't belong to this company. I don't belong to anything. I belong to the world. I belong to God. I belong to me. And my values are strong. So wherever I go, I bring values in the work I do. Not that I expect the work to give me something. I bring something to what I do because I do what I am. If I go that way, doesn't matter if I have a 1 week temporary job or 20 years permanent job. I'm the one who brings who I am in what I do. But we lost that. We lost that very, very much.
Yeah, fortunately. And let's now talk about the word of the century, which is love. As a French person, amour, l'amour, and love, that's what people are searching for. It's just, it's from a French person, what advice would you give to those that are searching for love, because if I could just, in terms of context, the romance and everything that we see, whether in Bollywood, Hollywood, whatever movies, it doesn't end up in reality and people are disappointed and they're searching for this so-called soulmate. Is there such a thing as soulmate? And what advice does the French have for the word love?
Actually, in French, it's a beautiful word. It's more like a sister soul. Wow. A soul who is your sister. I don't know why we created the word, but une âme sœur. So une âme sœur is like, because soul in French is feminine. So a soulmate it's very reproductive oriented, I think, a soulmate. Animals are mating, I don't know, but to me it sounds in English very, very technical and very wrong. I prefer
Never thought about it.
hamster, which is my sister's soul. So you do different thing with your sisters.
You know, the word mate in Australia means friend, right?
Right, yeah, it does.
Right. Yeah,
Friend soul.
yeah.
But I know, yeah, the context is there, but you know, there are many kinds of love, which I think we got confused about, because there's bodily love, there is, you know, brain love, love for ideas, there's social love, there's relationship love, there's so many types of love, possessiveness love, love for possession. So in English and in French as well, we use the word love for many things. In Hindi, in an Indian language, Hindi, there are many words for love, and they have a very different meaning. They don't mean the same kind of love. You know, it's like if you say to someone in English, I like you, or I love you, it's a bit different. In French, we don't even have like and love. It's only one word, amour. It's the same word. There's no, it's the same. If you say I like you, you would say je t'aime bien, but it's the same word. And you know, for me, the idea of love at the moment is to demystify love and to return to a healthier type of love. And so there was a very common, or I would say fashionable terminology, unconditional love. Sounds so beautiful. You know, I have unconditional love. Well, good luck. It doesn't exist really, because you would have to be very selfless to have an unconditional love, and very few souls will be like that. Most people are thirsty for love. They're missing love badly. They are in need for love. So whenever they will feel that love coming to them, they will grasp it and they will get attached to it. So there's no such thing at the moment, unless for very high yogis and very, very highly spiritual people or religious people. It's very rare to feel unconditional love. The question I have for myself very often is, why do I love someone? There are many things that make me love somebody. It could be their body. That's called a bodily love, you know. It could be sexual. It's just bodily love, and it's just attraction on the basis of the body. And I always joke, and it says, you know, bodily love is based on 1 millimeter layer of skin. Just not to be gross, but imagine you remove the skin on your face. I don't think many people will fall in love with you. But they're in love with your skin. They're just in love because we have that beautiful little layer, which is very well designed. Whoever thought of it, congratulations. Because without the skin, it's a little bit less easy to love the body, right? We agree with that? So love for the body is just based on that little beautiful skin. And if there's too many pimples and too many strange things on the skin, oh, well, we don't love it too much. What do you have here? Or what's wrong with you? You know, don't want to touch it. So it's stupid love for just a little body. And yeah, you fall in love and, oh, I love her. She's so pretty. Yeah, you love the body. And that is usually, well, wait for surprise, because body don't stay like that forever. So hopefully you'll have something else to sustain that love. Then there's love for the personality.
Yes.
So we have love for the personality. Then you can have love sometimes for what people do, their accomplishments. I love, you know, Roger Federer, but because of this, you know, what he's doing, I don't know, if he was to come and live with me, maybe after 2 days, it would be a no, you go back to your Mirka. She loves you for other things that I do. So Om Shanti, goodbye. So you can love people for what they do. You can love people because of their relationship with you. Why do you love your child more than your neighbor's child? Just because it's your child. So there's a sense of belonging, relationship that we love for. So like this, there are many things that make us love people. We should be aware of, why do we love people? So sometimes it's a combination of all these factors. Yes, that's true. Yeah, the body is okay, relationship, what they do. But actually, it's a percentage of everything. And the moment one of these percentage fluctuates, your love fluctuates. That's a very conditional love.
Mm-hmm.
I think in today's society, we lost the ability to generate love.
Mm.
And we increased the demand on receiving love.
Mm.
So even parents, I suspect, are less capable today of
Mm.
loving their children
Mm.
than probably parents before,
Mm.
because expectation on parents is very high.
Mm.
Life has changed, and their own inner being is tormented with a lot of things. And maybe cliche what I'm saying, but I mean, I've seen it in my grandparents, in the books I read about the way it used to be before. We've made things way more complicated today. And I think there's, how to call it, a love crisis. It's like when there's a water crisis, you know, you run out of water, a drought. I don't know what would be the word when there's no more love, you know, a desert of love, or you know, you don't have enough love. So what happens when there's when we're deprived from the love that we need to survive? The soul, I think, requires a natural amount of love in his life. Life without love is so dry. But so what I enjoy in spirituality is when we learn to understand where love comes from and what love am I addicted to.
Yeah.
If someone is addicted to bodily love, it's a big problem. They become sometimes very dysfunctional. They can't be faithful to their wife or their husband. Every time you see a beautiful body, oh, well, that's it. Attraction, desire. Some people say, but it's normal, it's human. I say, no, it's not normal. It's a deviant side of the soul. Because I've known it when I was younger. I knew, that's why I was very attracted by spirituality, knowing I need to help myself to be more in control of my own sense organs. And if I can't control my senses, how many relationships will I break? You may feel it's normal to be attracted by a beautiful woman, but your wife may not agree to that. And she may be very hurt if I break my vow, you know, by just chasing after someone because I fell in love with their body. And so I know it's moralistic or whatever, but what I'm trying to say, I'm talking to myself, right? I'm not preaching anything. I knew for me it was a problem. I was in a relationship one day and I thought I was very happy. I thought, okay, this is, you know, the person I'll be with in my life. And then we're walking in the street. I remember very clearly walking the street with that person and seeing another beautiful person coming in and doing this and having the desire. I had the desire in me, you know, to say, oh, maybe I like this other one. Maybe I should pursue it, you know. And I thought, Eric, what's wrong with you? Hey, whoa, 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 what are you doing? And I doubted my ability, to be honest with you. I really, really seriously doubted my ability to be, how do you say in English, monogamous or monogam?
Monogamous.
Yeah, that. I really thought, oh, maybe I'm not designed for that. Or maybe I'm just French, you know, because in France there's a lot of lovers and mistresses, and it's part of the history. But I knew, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying for me it was an issue because I knew, how am I going to sustain a relationship if I can't have faith that I'm going to stay in that relationship and not be distracted by the first beautiful person I meet again that I want to be with. So, and I know it's not like that for many people, and good, but I knew it was like that for me. And I thought, oh, I'm not controlling my senses. I'm not in control of what I feel, the way I think, or something is wrong with me. So that's why when I understood about soul consciousness, yes, the body is beautiful and it's an incredible gift from nature. You know, these bodies are incredible. But what about the soul? Are you just seeing the body or are you seeing the soul?
Mm.
I know it might be a story you may put somewhere else, but there was a very nice receptionist at work where I used to work in one part of Canada. I was not in Montreal. And when she arrived at work, she's the first person you meet when you walk in the building. It's hello, good morning. And then, she's the receptionist. And she was, honestly, I mean, an extremely beautiful woman, very, very nice, very friendly, very. And when I saw her the first time, I knew, I said, oh, she's very, very, very pretty. But for strange reason, I was lucky. I had the thought right away that she reminded me of my sister.
Mm.
And I created the thought, and I knew myself, and I said, well, I'm trying to be a good yogi. So I would, and that's our practice. As a yogi, you see a woman as your sister because it's a good feeling, it's a clean feeling. So, and I would see herself as my sister. And so for many, many months or years, I can't remember, but quite a long time, every morning she would be always joyful, so nice. And I always feel, hello, how are you? Have a little chit chat. And I always felt I like her, she's like, I feel like she's my sister. So for me, it was very clear thinking. But that was before Me Too. One day when I walked in the office, she was obviously a little bit disturbed, and that was so unusual. And I thought, okay, so yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine, fine. So I said, okay, I had to go, so I went, and then at lunchtime, I remember, I came back. I came back to her, and I said, I'm concerned. You didn't seem so happy, and it looked like something is happening. And she said, yeah, and so we started talking, and then she started to confess. And she told me, Eric, do you know what? In all the people in this building, she talked about the man, you're the only man who is, for whom I feel you're looking at me properly. She says, most men, when they come, I always feel that there are, I mean, not most, but she said many, and many very high-ranked people. When they walked in, I always feel disrespected, the way they look at me, the way they joke, the way they talk. We're a little bit way before Me Too. And that day, she said, then there's one or two, their behavior, their action, their hands really is not appropriate. And when she told me that, to be honest, I was extremely shocked. When I understood who she's talking about, I said, how is it possible to do this? Like I was really shocked, and I could feel angry that they would do it to her because she's my sister. And someone would touch my physical sister, I would really be really, really reacting. So I was really concerned. And she told me, she said, Eric, it may be strange to you. And she was a bit crying. She was emotional, but she said, it may sound very strange to you, Eric, but to me, she said, from all the men in the building here, when I see you every time, I almost feel like you're my brother. And I said, well, I was thinking, because I never told her, that I would see her as my sister. I never said something. We're, still having casual chit chat, but she was not my friend. I was not crossing any boundaries. I never told her, oh, you're my sister. And I said, don't worry, it doesn't feel strange to me at all. I really feel like you're like my sister. She said that she never felt, for me, any disrespect. She always felt that my attitude, my words, my regard, and I have to say, she was extremely beautiful. She was a very, very beautiful woman, but that doesn't excuse anything. And the way, what she told me that some men did to her, I said, this is not going to be all right. I'm going to help you. We're going to go to human resources. This is not going to stay like that. And I'm going to help you. This has to change. And so where I'm going into it is that, we broke big rules. And I'm not blaming people. I'm just saying we lost the ability to see the human and the being together. We only see the human. Spirituality tells us, look at the being. And in every human, there's a being. That's why we're called human being. And learn to see the being. That's what we call soul conscious vision. Learn to see the soul. It's not a woman. It's a soul in a woman's body. That's very different. And that soul is my sister. Soulmate is my sister. So where I believe, yes, soulmates, yes and no. It's an expression we use. I believe that with some souls, we have very, very, very strong connection. I believe in reincarnation. So yes, maybe we met many times in past lives. And so when we meet again, the body has changed, but there's a quick connection like a magnet. There's a very, very, very fantastic filmmaker, and I know we're sharing with an English audience, but anyone here who can search for a filmmaker called Claude Lelouch. Claude Lelouch, French from France. All his films are about people meeting each other in different lifetime. But this is not, esoteric film. They're very, very. He's one of the biggest filmmaker in France. 50% of French people don't like him. 50% love him. I love him very much, and his films are fantastic. You see people in a story, years ago, and then suddenly in another birth they meet again, and you as a viewer, you know what they lived through before, so you understand why they feel the way they feel in another life. Same scenario happens again, same people come again, and so it's fantastic filmmaker. And so we lost track of knowing the being in the human, and we only see the human. Oh, she's a pretty girl. Oh, he's a pretty boy. Oh, she's a great lady. Oh, he's a great tennisman. But who is the being? Who is the being inside? And spirituality wants to restore the ability to harmonize love with the being and the human. Recreate a balance. I'm not saying we deny the body. No, your body is pretty, handsome, wonderful. But I'm not losing control over my senses and my feelings because of that. You're a great personality, wonderful, but I don't lose track of who I am. Love, to me, the romantic love you're talking about, for many years, I felt love was you go to a nice dining table in a restaurant, put a beautiful candle, look at each other's eyes, and use words like, I see petals of love in your eyes. They bloom, they touch my heart. I feel the fragrance of your being shining through you. My dear, without you, my life is nothing. Please marry me. Okay, Om Shanti, goodbye. This is like in a movie, it's good. But I used to believe love is you merge in the eyes of your beloved and you forget it. This is not working. This is a recipe for disaster after down the road. In the mythology, but also in spirituality, is two people standing straight next to each other, looking in the same direction. Not looking at each other. They're both standing and they look in the same direction. But they feel the uniting energy, the force between. Yesterday, in the concert that I was at, it was a couple, husband and wife. They have a daughter, 2-year-old daughter, and they play 4 hands on the same piano. So they play next to each other, and then they play, their hands go like this. It's very, very, very spectacular. The harmony between the two. They never looked at each other. They both look at the piano, and they both play the same tune, but in harmony with each other. They don't have to look at it, like this. It doesn't work that way. They just focus on their work. But the harmony they create together was so beautiful. It brought music to another level. So love is not about I'm an empty glass or half empty glass, you're a half empty glass. Oh, great, together we'll make a glass full. That's a wrong mathematical equation. 2 half empty glasses will end up being 2 half empty glasses forever. It doesn't go from one to the other. And if half empty glass goes into the other, it will make 1 full glass and 1 empty glass. So not a good recipe for a long-term relationship. And so yes, love is the biggest word of the time, but it's the word that symbolizes the greatest lust, I think, of the human soul at the moment. I know many souls live beautiful, loving relationship, and I'm very happy for them because I believe there are new souls
Mm.
They're just coming on earth for the first time. They're charged with energy. They're happy. Their love story is fine. Congratulations. It's a beautiful story, and I'm happy for them.
Mm.
But don't forget, a lot of souls, I think, have gone through a lot of stories from the past where they feel, I'm an old soul.
Mm.
And so when I came into the spirituality, I felt like putting a big board on me saying, under massive construction, sorry, no vacancy. I really felt I should go on because, I was young, 20 years old, 21. Yeah, the body was kind of good value on the market at the time. And everybody was falling in love with everybody. This is when you're in your 20s, and many even came to the meditation center just because of my body. I heard that one day. I said, well, wrong reason to come here. And so I felt like putting a big board, sorry, under construction, no vacancy. Just, I can't share my heart with people. And at that time, I needed to fix my heart.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I want to have pure love for other people, I need to heal my heart. And today I'm happy to say I love a lot of people, a lot. And I love them deeply, deeply with my heart. And I feel my heart is not in pieces, but my heart is in peace, honestly. But it's been decades of construction in the heart, but I don't regret it. I wish I would be a new soul coming on earth for the first time. No need to renovation. That's fine. But I realize, no, I'm a very old soul and I need massive renovation because it's falling apart with time, natural. And today I feel, yes, my heart has been healed. I know how to love almost anyone. I don't expect anything from anyone anymore, but I'm happy to love everyone. And I'm happy to feel loved as well. I don't mind. I know I'm loved by a lot of people. A lot of people love me very, very much. And I love a lot of people. My heart has expanded. It's beautiful having a relationship with a person. Okay, you make your life with that person. Lovely. But it's also good to have an expansive, not how to call that, expanding heart. Jesus, I know I talk about Jesus, but that's what we loved about him. His heart was infinite. That's why we love him. He could love anyone, the sinner, and he would see that a great religious leader was not worthy of the love he would give, but he would see purpose of loving everyone. So heart has an incredible capacity. And if we don't use that capacity, we shrink. And then the love becomes so little. And then every time you see somebody willing to give you a bit of love, you grasp that person and you get very attached. Because it's like finding a long-term source of something. You want a long-term contract. But yeah, one day if that love is not given, it turns into something very bad. I've seen so many couples going from, I love you, you're the love of my life, and yes, we get married and have children, and then down the road,
blaming and conflict.
Terrible things. Hate, violence, life broken forever. And this is what went wrong. And people say, yeah, it's normal, this life. I say, no, it's not normal. It's not normal. I think as a soul, as a being, I should be able to love forever. Doesn't matter what the other person says or do or whatever, I love, because that's my nature. That's who I am. So I do what I am. I love because this is what my heart is. I know it's a big topic and we just touch a little bit edges here, but it's a beautiful reflection. We need to think about it, because for me, the biggest freedom has been about not chasing after love anymore. In its many forms. Love for food, love for sex, love for relationship, love for phone, love for everything. Not chasing after that anymore. And knowing that there is a source of love, which we haven't talked much about, but to me, that the relationship with the Supreme Soul is like finding again the original source of love. That ultimate quality of love that you say, oh, this is the reference. This is highest, purest, most altruistic form of love. I have to taste it. And once we taste that form of love, it recalibrates all the other desire for love in my life. Honestly, that's what I feel. And that's what I see in many yogis. Their love for God make them into givers of love, producers of love. That's very different. Not seekers of love anymore.
Yeah. You know, you talked about the love for the Supreme Soul, Eric. I don't know if you've seen this T-shirt. I don't know if it's in France or Canada, if you've seen them, but in Australia, I've seen a lot of people wearing them. It's called Essentials, but then underneath, it's got Fear of God. So, you know, you talked about the Supreme Soul, God being loving and kind, and we need to experience love. But a lot of people are actually afraid. And they've actually grown up with the concept of God fearing. Like they don't do things because they're afraid of God rather than having a loving relationship to God. So what's this fear about? You know, if Jesus Christ, for example, if those who are Christians who believe in Jesus Christ, I mean, if he was the epitome of love who sacrificed his life and preached the concept of forgiveness, and then there's the other kind, you know, other religions that talk about love and kindness and compassion. So where did this fear come from? Why are we all afraid of God?
Well, talking about T-shirt, I used to have another one that was different, and it used to say, "Please be patient with me." And in the back, it was written, "God is not done with me yet."
Yeah.
So I'm still under construction. You know, when my mother passed away, I was 14. And I don't remember if I shared that with you, but you know, the day my mother passed away, I was sleeping and I had some friends over at home. So I was sleeping on the floor, and my great aunt, she was 76 at the time, she just kicked me lightly, you know, to wake me up. And of course, being very grumpy and, well, why are you waking me up like this? And she told me, if you knew what happened to your mom, you would not respond to me like this. That's how I was told. And I remember exactly those words. That's how I was told your mom died. And I remember that less than a second after that, it didn't take me 1 second to talk to God and say, it's over. That was my reaction. You just betrayed me now. Because until that time, I was a very good Catholic. I was going to Mass every Sunday. I would do my prayers every night. I would do my rosary. I would read the Bible. I would love Jesus. I was a good Christian, normal, but a good little Catholic boy. And I loved it. Honestly, I loved Jesus stories and everything was fine. I used to enjoy. We used to sing in the choir in the church every Sunday. My teachers, many teachers were priests and nuns, and I had a very good relationship with them, nothing wrong. But the moment I understood my mom died, I hated God. And I told, he's responsible. He killed my mom. So when I went to see the priest, asking him a last time, tell me why my mother passed away, I knew what he would say. And I prepared my response, you know, thinking, but I think I shared that with you already. And I said, yes, you know, in our world, we call someone who calls people like this a serial killer. So tell your God he's a serial killer. And before he kills the mom of kids, he should check with the kids if they're very happy to be orphans now. So I used to hate God for that. And, you know, I was told when I was a kid, if you don't do your prayer before going to bed, you may never wake up. It's terrible. I used to wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, did I do my prayer? Let's do it again in case I don't wake up. We're told to fear God. Yeah, that's religion, unfortunately. God punishes the impure. And so I developed for 7 years an attitude where I didn't want to know anything about God. And to the point where in school and university, I remember when I used to start to get friendly with someone, if they would tell me that they believe in God, I would not pursue the friendship with them. Honestly, to me, I didn't want to be friend with a religious person. No way. Something must be wrong with their head. The only thing that changed was the day I met someone in Brittany, so very, rural part of France, and someone at university I remember told me. I asked him because we were starting to get friends, and I thought, whoa, wait, do you believe in God? And he said, well, I'm a Buddhist, and he was probably the only Buddhist in the whole Brittany area in France at the time. So I didn't know what a Buddhist was. And I was only concerned, but can we be friends or not? Because I don't know if you don't believe in God, but you're Buddhist. And that's when I thought, okay, maybe Buddhism is fine. It's okay. And actually, it was good because he started to change my mind about religion and spirituality. So I realized that, oh, maybe I was told wrong things. Maybe there are other possibilities. My exposure to Buddhism, I realized that it's not black and white like they say in Christianity. And Buddhism told me more about karma philosophy. That God doesn't punish you for anything. They don't believe in God anyway. So it says, no, you receive the fruit of your own action. There's nothing about punishment, or no one is controlling your bank account, spiritually speaking. You do, you get as you did, as you sow, so shall you reap. God has nothing to do with that. And if there's rain, it has nothing to do with God. In the past, imagine when we didn't know anything about weather phenomena. I don't know, if somebody says, oh, well, it's raining because, or it doesn't rain because you didn't please God, or God is unpleased with you, so you have to kill sheep and kids and whatever, so gods will be pleased with you and they will bring the rain. I mean, who came up with these ideas? We believed it, but we know today it has nothing to do with God. I mean, weather forecast has nothing to do with God. We know that. And it was terrible when I felt that they said, if there's AIDS, is God punishing the homosexual community? It was like, okay, the guys, come on. You put a lot of responsibility on God and putting him responsible for a lot of things. It has nothing to do. And today, I would say, if somebody says, God killed your mom, and I have so much love now for God, and it's been I have such a different thinking. I says, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like if they say, oh, today there was a storm, it's the fault of your mother. You say, what? My mother has nothing to do with the storm. She didn't kill all these people and destroy all the. I would feel very hurt that people would accuse my mom or my dad to be responsible for a disaster. But all the insurance companies say it's an act of God.
Yes.
They don't call it an act of God. They're not insuring you for an act of God. Well, if I was God, I would take you to court for defamation because I've nothing, he should say something that he's guilty of all what we accuse him. If you look at what humankind has been accusing God of doing, well, and he's a monster. So when I came to the Brahma Kumaris and I was told about God, I felt, oh, I'm out of here. I remember I used to think, oh, Raj Yoga was so good, soul, karma, positive thinking, be in charge of your life. This is so wonderful. Why do you have to bring God into it? I didn't want to hear a thing about God. He killed my mom, don't forget, and many other people's mom. I hated him. I didn't want to know anything about God. And then the sister who used to give me the course said, no, Eric, let me tell you what we believe God is. And she came up with such a different concept from the one I heard before that I thought, well, who told you that? Where does this come from? I never heard. This is new. It just came out. This is a new version of God. It just suddenly showed up from a new computer, or it's a new app, or where do you take that from? And then the thought that was given to me was, no, God is like, to me, behind this little point of light. This is what I believe God is now. It's just light.
Beautiful.
And that light actually is just energy.
Mm-hmm.
And when we feel that energy, if we don't understand, we don't know what it is.
Mm.
You know, imagine that you go somewhere where they never saw civilization, a tribe somewhere in a forest never saw scientific thing or never saw a cell phone. And you bring this to them and you play Celine Dion singing at the Olympics, the word of love, actually. You know, it was a beautiful love song that she sang. And so imagine you play that in front of someone who never saw this, and there's the voice of somebody singing. What are they going to believe? They will believe that you put the woman in the phone or in this thing, and they will think, well, that person is in the box and the person is singing. Of course, how do you explain to them? No. Celine Dion was in a studio, there was a recording, the sound was put in this, then it went to satellite, went back to Earth. How can you expect them to understand any of this? Impossible. The only thing they know is they are hearing the voice of Celine Dion coming out of this. And this is weird. This is very strange. Now, imagine we don't understand God at all. And things happen. So we go on with our stupid interpretation, and then everybody believes it. That's called religion, in my opinion. You come up with an idea, oh, great. Everybody believes it. I say, are you sure about it? And that's why you have so many religions, and they're killing each other. Well, sorry, but this is not really what we're meant to do. So spirituality is very different. And what I like in what I learned in spirituality is, well, it's a different thinking, and maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, I don't know. But I prefer to use that thinking today because it helps me to become who I want to become. So we say your belief systems will design who you become. So make sure you choose your belief system according to how you really want to become. And to me, if my belief system says I am right and everybody else is wrong, and you can even kill the other person to preserve the truth, well, I'm not sure what is that going to make me do. But if I believe that God is a being of light, and it's a source of love, and a source of peace, and a source of happiness, well, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but I choose to use that thinking to see what happened to me. And what I experience is that by choosing that thinking and practicing it, it helped me to be respectful to each and every one. Because what I see is that every soul is connected to the Supreme Soul. Doesn't matter their religion, their belief, their doing, their not doing. Everyone is a soul. And there's only one Supreme Soul who is like the parent, is like the mother, the father, the friend. And it's not like it's not a human being. So it's not like a being like us. And if I go back to the experience of being a soul, I know what it is to be a soul. It's just to be energy. Then I understand God maybe is just energy as well. And it's not an energy that speaks Hindi or French or English. It's an energy that radiates that magnitude of love, of peace, of happiness. So if I don't know how to decode that love, that peace, that happiness, then I will come up with strong, strange interpretation. God is everywhere. It's like you hear Celine Dion in China, in France, in England at the same time, and you say, well, Celine Dion is omnipresent. No, she's in a studio. She's in Montreal, by the way. She's from Montreal. She's near from Montreal. So she's from here. But her voice can be heard anywhere in the world because there's technology. Now, for me, God is the same. It's not that he's everywhere. That changes a lot, the thinking. No, God is a being, very specific being. But his energy could be felt anywhere, anytime. If I connect properly, if I have the device to tune in. And many people have connected with God forever, but they didn't know what happened. How does it work? So, it's like the story of these 5 blind people who are asked to check the elephant and describe what they're touching. So each person is touching a different part of the elephant. And they each are saying, oh, an elephant is strong and it's like a big pillar. Yeah, but though it's holding the leg. If the one is touching the ear, we say, no, it's flat and it's very flexible. So each one is touching a different part of the elephant and arguing that they think they got the full picture. I really feel religion is like that. Each religion is holding to a little side of the reality, thinking this is it. And I say, no, maybe put all the religion together and you may get the full picture. Separate religion from each other, you get war, you get murder, you get conflict, you get problems. That's what happened. Spirituality is about go beyond religion. Don't go into this is right, this is right, this is right. No, go beyond that. Go into the experience of who am I? And find this universal thought that unite people, not that divide people. So for me, the fear of God, I don't know, it's a long answer to your question, comes from being disconnected from God and connecting to human ideas that came from a lack of understanding and took us away from the reality. If I believe that, let's say there's a fire in my place, and I say, well, where's the fire exit? And the person says, brother, it's everywhere. It's in you and it's me and it's everywhere. Well, if somebody tells me that I'm going to die, burn alive, because they didn't tell me, well, the fire exit is way down the hall, on your left, on your right, that's where it is. It will make a big difference in my life. And if I'm told where the fire exit is, I'll be safe. Yeah. But if I'm told, well, it's everywhere, it's in you and it's me and it's like there and it's, well, that will make a big difference. Yeah. So when we were told God is everywhere, God is omnipresent, I'm sorry, but I believe that that doesn't help me to connect. Yeah. If I'm asking you, where is Roger Federer? I say, but Roger Federer is in you, he's in me, he's in everywhere. I'm never going to meet him. I'm going to meet a fantasy image of somebody that is actually in flesh and bone living in Switzerland. And if I can just have his address, I'll go and meet him. And I'll be very happy to meet him. And to me, that's what I believe. I may be totally wrong, but I feel by losing sight of that being and dividing our ideas, we've broken the world in pieces. And if we want to recreate peace in the world, we have to embrace every idea and tell everybody you're right. Because when you feel God is everywhere, it's because you're feeling it in your heart. And you're right. Maybe we just interpret the reality differently. And if I hear Celine Dion in my apartment, well, I would say she's not in my apartment, but I can feel as if she is here with 3D television and 5.1 sound effect. Yeah, I feel almost as if she's in my apartment because I have a good device. So a person with a heart that can catch God's energy will feel God is in my heart. But technically, not really. You just are having a cell phone in your heart, catching the message from, God Dion. So the experience of God, I think has to be, we shouldn't challenge our own experience of God. That's spirituality. Religion is fixed. Spirituality is, to me, is open. And for me, I've made a choice to say, yes, let me try that. God is a being of light. I wish he would speak French, but he doesn't. He doesn't speak any language. But he radiates energy. And when that energy touches my mind, it may come out as French and great, but I know it's through me. I'm the instrument. When beauty comes through a violin, the sound is the sound of the violin. And when the beauty touches the piano, the sound will be the sound of the piano. It's not that one is right and the other one is wrong. It's the same beauty, the same music, but the instrument is different. So if God touches Moses, there will be something that will sound like Moses. And if God touches Jesus, well, it will sound Jesus. It's not that one is right and the other one is wrong. It's just sound differently. But the original truth is the same. And that's what I prefer to look at, not at the instrument, the piano or the violin. And I become the religion of the piano. Everybody should be a piano and everybody will have a piano and everybody should sound like a piano. That's my new religion is piano. I say, okay, but then violin is good too. So why not to make an orchestra and let the world play together, and the Jewish and the Muslim and the Christian and the Buddhist and everyone play together and create a harmony in a big concert saying every instrument is beautiful because the source is the same. The original sound is ultimately from the same source. It sounds differently on a piano than a violin. That's true. Both are beautiful. And I may choose to only listen to violin. It's great. But I appreciate the piano too as being equally beautiful. It's not just your choice. I wear a white shirt, but I could have wear a black shirt. So for me, my understanding of God today is that this beautiful being behind me is just a silent expression of love for each and every soul. And the day I realize that this energy, we can call it God, you can call it life, you can call it the source, you can call it the one. It's tricky. You can call it Dieu en français, Dios in Spanish, Allah, Jehovah, whatever. These are names we have created. We should maybe, I don't know if he has text messages, but I should text him and say, what's your name exactly? Because it seems like there's misunderstanding about your name. And he might say, no, my name is love. My name is peace. My name is happiness. My name is bliss. My name is truth. My name is light. That's his name, I think. And if I connect with that name, that God is love, God is peace, God is bliss, where is the fear? There's no fear. Who said God will punish me? A human being. I don't believe it. I don't believe God will ever punish me. God is on the contrary. My experience today of God is God empowers me to face the consequences of my own actions. It's very different. The mother doesn't have to punish the child. The mother who really loves the child would say, you've made a mistake. Yeah, that's a mistake. Well, let me help you not to make that mistake again. You know, there was a big situation in the organization one day, and one person did things that were very damageable and very, bad, let's say. And much later on, that person dared coming back to, let's say, the headquarters in India. And most people felt, oh, how does she dare coming after what she did? How does she dare to come here as if nothing happened? I mean, that's what I felt. And then I heard that the head of the organization, the one that I love so much, that Prakashmani, she shared her thought, and she said she felt, how can we help that soul not to feel all the pain that she would feel as a consequence of her actions? Do you hear that? So her concern was more, not at all, how does she dare coming here? On the contrary, it's good she's here. How can we help that soul not to suffer for what she has done? Wow, I thought, I'm not there yet. I'm trying to forgive a little bit, not that much. I'm not there yet at all. But to me, that was a standard of, wow, that's what the heart can do. And I believe that's what God's heart will do. If God sees me doing something wrong, what will come in his heart is not, I'm going to punish him. Never. I mean, that's a human God, in my opinion. But that's my belief. I may be wrong. I prefer to believe, knowing why I'm believing this, I prefer to believe, no. And that's not my experience, is that God's love is never ending. That's why we call him the ocean of love.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And that love that comes from God is a healing love.
Mm.
It's the love I saw in Jesus, for sure.
Mm.
The love I saw in Daddy Prakash Mani is the love I see in me sometimes as a little Celine Dion trying to do her little one note. And I said, oh, it sounds like I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But when I hear the sound of love of God, I see and I hear power. I see forgiveness. I see compassion. I see what I shared earlier. Past is past. Don't dwell on it. It's over. I see a mother telling her child, don't worry, it will be fine. Mommy will be here. I'll help you. I won't let anything hurt you. That's what the love I hear from God.
Beautiful.
Every other form of love to me has been designed by man, and I understand where they come from. I understand, yeah, they were. That's what we came up with. If you read the Bible, there's certain things there that you think, oh my goodness, I've done a lot of stories about God hates homosexuals. That's what we were told. I read a lot of things. I don't believe that. I really, really don't. I think love is love, and God's love is genuine, is pure, is beautiful. And it's for every soul is naturally connected to that source. That's where we come from. The original truth of love is in me. And that's my gift from God. That's what he gave to all of us. And I'm just hoping through spiritual, efforts to release that love again, to bring that love back into reality in my words, in my action. And I may, even now in the interview, I may say things, wrong or may not come out properly sometimes. But I have that feeling inside that no, it's driven by the desire to channel that love as much as possible. And to me, God has nothing to be feared of. On the contrary, I used to hate the idea of God. Today, I feel I want to know more. I want to get closer. I want to feel it more because I know this is the only love that will fulfill my heart. This is the only bliss that will content my heart. There's only peace that will quiet my mind. And that's why I feel the relationship we create with love today, with God, is beautiful. He's my father, my friend, my husband, my wife, my teacher, my guide. You say, make God your world, and your world would be so beautiful that you will bring beauty into the world today.
Beautiful. Great, Eric. So a last question for today and this episode, and then we will probably close with a rapid fire round. And that last question might be a long answer, but people want to know a lot these days. Do you believe that everyone has a purpose in life?
They are not aware of their purpose in life. And yes, everybody has a purpose in life. Definitely. The problem is we don't see it. It's like you're sent into a stage and you're told, well, this is a very important play. And you look around and you see the audience, what is my role? What am I playing? So you kind of get a little bit nervous because we don't know what is our role. But I think everyone has the soul. So now we're talking about everyone. So who are we talking about? The being or the human being? And, if I think of myself as Eric, and I try to define what is my purpose as Eric on earth, that's where we get confused. Because Eric is a role, is not the being. And the purpose of Eric might be to become a journalist, might be to be a good person, might be to, enjoy life. Okay, that's good. But the being inside Eric is the soul. And the question should be, what is the purpose of the soul? And it's like, to me, the soul has something that belongs to it, which is very difficult to read. And it's like if I were to give you a USB key at the moment, just a little key. And I say, on it, there's a very precious information. I say, yeah, but what it is? Well, if you want to know what is on that USB key, you need a computer. You a very fancy tool in which you'll put your little key and it will say, what do you want to do? You open it. I say, wow, there's a film, there's secret codes, there's a bank account number that I can use. There's the truth about who is my real father, which I didn't know. Whoa, 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 whoa. All that is on the key.
Mm.
But to read the key, you need the tool, which is the computer in that case. Well, the soul is that little chip that contains secret information about life, about universe, about me, about God, about everything. It's all in there, and the chip. We call it the soul. So the soul's purpose is to come into a body and press play. When you take birth, usually you come out of the body of your mom and they press play. You know, that's play. And then the baby, start to cry. That's called press play button. There's a nicer one. You don't need to press so hard. You can just press slightly and it plays very well. That's for future doctors. We're told when you come out of the body, bang, you know, okay, he's playing now. Okay, now playing the movie of your life. Well, so the soul come into the body with a purpose to know, to find out what is on that little key. But the problem is that now when we come out, you want to express it. And your parents who don't know their own purpose, don't know your purpose. And they say, no, 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 no. You are a boy, you're a girl, you do this, you're going to become this, you're going to become Christian. So they try to fit you in something that may not be you. That's why there's a rebellious time in the youth and the young adult, and the soul said, hey, listen, you've tried to fit me the whole life in that little box, but it's not me. Yeah, it might not be, even this body may not be suitable for me. This is the issue these days. And I may not feel attracted by a man or a woman. I may be attracted, or may not be attracted by a man, but by a woman, and I'm in a woman's body. How does it work today? We're confused. But the soul has lost its purpose because we haven't helped each other to be a soul. We just made it stronger and stronger and stronger. You're a man, you're a woman. At least with religion, before, we would be told you're all brothers. Okay, that was a little bit interesting information. See everyone as your brother. At least that was good. He may be Muslim, but he's your brother. Treat him like your brother. She's your sister. But we lost that. So we became confused. And now I feel that the soul's purpose is just to reveal what is within, so I can know myself, I can see who I am, and I can understand the whole universe and the whole equation. That's beautiful. So the purpose of the soul is to bloom, like the purpose of the flower is to become a flower, is to bloom and become this most beautiful thing with color, shape, fragrance. Well, the soul wants to bloom out of its seed, the little chip. I say, well, this is who I am. But today, the who I am has become so, what is on my passport, my height, my weight, my color of the hair, my parents' name, my profession, this is who I am. And this is so far from the truth that we're very confused. So then we say, well, what's my purpose? What am I doing here? I'm lost. Yeah, of course we're lost. So the purpose of the soul is great. It's to know itself, it's to reveal itself to the world and to have self-awareness and say, wow, this is interesting. This is wonderful. But no, we get lost into our role and then say, no, I'm a doctor. 8 o'clock appointment is very, very important. If I miss it, very, very bad. You came naked, you'll go back naked. So don't worry about your computer. You're just a little chip. And when they pull you out of the computer, whoops, you won't see anything.
Thank you, Eric. So I think for this episode, that's where we will leave it. But I just want to ask you a few rapid fire round questions, if that's okay. And that's how we will end it. So Eric, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Both.
Both.
Yes. I
But yeah.
love morning and I know how to behave in the nighttime. So I love morning and yes, both. I think both are good. The extremes come together. So I can enjoy both. I'm not uncomfortable in the night and I'm not uncomfortable at 4 in the morning.
Perfect. It's good. And if being a yogi, where is your favorite meditation spot?
On my balcony in the summer. I have a beautiful balcony with light that I designed it's very elaborate. There are curtains outside, white curtains, flowers, jasmine flowers, candles, cushions, natural wood, and I see the sky, I see the planes landing, and I hear the birds. I love that spot.
Beautiful. Is there a book that changed your life?
Livingston Livingston the Seagull.
Oh, really?
John Livingston the Seagull.
Wow, that you're the second person who I've just spoken to said the same book. Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a book that that really changed a lot. And the other book is in French, but it's complicated. It's Les Mémoires d'Adrien. So the memoir of Adrian, the emperor, by Marguerite Yourcenar, a French author, and it really awakened within me the desire to be a very noble person. But yeah, Jonathan Livingston, the Seagull, really made me aware of my capacities to break boundaries.
Wow, I have to read this book now because
Yeah,
lesson. Oh, lovely.
and check online. The film is great. There's a movie. And it's made just with seagulls. I don't know how they did that, but it's incredible. And a beautiful soundtrack. It's a very lovely film to watch. Jonathan Livingston, the Seagull.
Okay. Tea or coffee, Eric?
Both.
Both again.
Why not? Very much both. Garam chai and strong French coffee, both.
Yeah. Any particular times of the day or interchange anytime?
Well, coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon.
All right. Yeah. So you've lived in France, you've lived in Canada. Favorite country of all times or somewhere else in the world that you've visited?
Wow, that's a hard one. I could say so both, but I would say, wow, that's a tough one. I love really every place I've been, but I would say Canada. I'm really at home. I think my purpose was to come here. I love this country. I love the Canadian people. I love Montreal very, very much. So how to call it in English? I'm on my spot, like my E spot, V spot, D spot, T spot, whatever spot it is. I'm on it. I'm the spot, Montreal spot.
No, I won't go there, Eric, but yes, you're at home.
You know what I mean? I don't know the English expression, but
yes, there's a lot of other things come to my mind, and I'm sure people will, but it's funny. All good. Mountains or beaches?
Sorry?
Are you a mountain person or beaches person?
Oh, beaches. I love the mountain. But if you want to find me, go to the beach first. You'll find me there.
If I have to describe Eric, the human, in one word, not the Eric, the soul, what's that one word that I would describe you?
Love.
Love. No. Your go-to mantra or an affirmation, if you like?
Yes, I believe very much in affirmation. I create my own and I'm enjoying new ones every week.
Excellent. Some you like to share or your go-to ones?
I'm going to sleep so well tonight. I love that one. So I create my wonderful dreams and my beautiful night by projecting it. No, but it's true. I mean, I create that thought very well. I have many, life is amazing. That's a mantra I use a lot. I'm alive. That's one of my favorite. In the morning, I said, I'm alive. This is great. Hey, Eric, don't forget, this is an all-inclusive package. I came on Earth. It's an all-inclusive. You have, food, lodging, everything, entertainment, fear, failure, success. It's a package. It's a new Met Club. It's a spiritual Met Club. And I choose, I got a ticket for Earth. Anybody wants to come with me? I'm alive. This is incredible experience. My mantra.
Awesome. What's your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. Oh, I have so many. I think really watching a long, never-ending tennis game between Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. That will be a very guilty pleasure. How would I spend 4 hours? Well, I can do other things, few emails, but that's a really guilty pleasure. I can enjoy a long tennis game.
Perfect. Sounds good. You speak French, you speak English. Any favorite languages that you like to learn, or maybe you can just...
Spanish. I love Spanish. I learned Spanish. I speak Spanish. Okay, a little bit. But yes, languages are wonderful. And I love French language, but I'm mixed up between French and English most of the time. So no, Spanish would be, in English, you say a lot of things and you make them short. In French, you say too many things, but in Spanish, you sing. So it's much better.
One thing you can't live without.
God.
So
it's nice to be one thing.
God and
one being I can live without God, definitely. If it has to be a thing, shower. No, I'm not good without showers. I need water. And a good shower with pressure. That's much better. Yes. I always say, if people ask me, do you want...
Oh. Yes, you can go glamping. Have you heard of those? Glamping?
No, I don't know that. That's camping, holding your shower behind you and carrying your shower.
Glamping is, this new trend that is now starting. So it's basically camping, but not in the forest. You're actually in the comfort of a very comfortable...
I'll go for that, by the beach.
So if you could have dinner with any spiritual leader, who would it be?
Jesus.
Jesus. What would you ask him?
If he's okay. If he's... Did he survive his adventure? If he wants to meditate with me, come, I can help you. I know he must be still in pain somehow, and I will check if he's okay, if he healed properly, and if he's fine. Yeah, I'll be looking at him as my brother.
Perfect. A favorite way to relax after a long day, besides the shower? And
yeah, shower is definitely one. Music. I'm a very, very music person. I love I have a solution for every problem in my playlist. So I feel I have many, many music for different things. So when I'm coming back home, tired, whatever, I know music will help me a lot.
Okay. Any musical piece or any song that you like to share?
One that I can share today, which everybody can find online, is called Flower of Light. You'll find it's a beautiful song, Flower of Light, and listen to it as if you're really speaking to God. Okay. And you won't have any fear of God at all.
Okay, beautiful. Anything on your bucket list, Eric?
Market list?
Bucket list. Bucket list.
Bucket list.
Anything for you to do?
I mean, Jivan Mukti in a second. And then my bucket list, it will be, I want to just continue on my spiritual journey to go through the breaking point. I really feel I'm getting closer and closer to a breakthrough. I'm waiting for that breakthrough, and I know it's coming very, very soon. And that's the only thing I want. Nice. And it's based on my own ability to hold truth and to be that truth in my actions, my words, my doing. That's the only gap still there. I'm I have great ideas, but I have to be it. And the breakthrough still is to happen, and I'm counting on it. I hope I'll get it very, very soon.
Brilliant. A piece of advice you would like to give your younger self. So what would Eric of today tell
Love
Eric
yourself.
of the past?
Love yourself way more. Be nice to yourself. Be really, really nice to yourself. Be patient. Yeah, forgive yourself. I mean, I have a lot to say to my younger self. Yeah, but love yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, it will all work out. You'll be amazing, and everybody's going to love you through many podcasts and real life. So on an ending, any favorite quotes or anything you'd like to end with? Any words of advice, favorite quotes?
Well, I mean, I closed my career at CBC with the documentary I did with a a very nice journalist I really love. And he also had that quote we wanted to finish with, and it's from, I forgot the source, but I should know. But anyway, the quote is beautiful, and it was said by a Buddhist nun from Nepal. And we used it as it says, instead of cursing darkness, just lit a candle.
Beautiful.
And I love that. And I think that's what we do when we become a little soul. We just bring a little bit of light in the world instead of cursing darkness.
Beautiful. Thank you. So on that note, thank you so much, Eric, once again for episode number 2.
Yes, I don't know how many more episodes there will be, but thank you for being so patient with me, and thank you for giving me a chance to share openly like this. And to whoever is listening, I would just say, I don't pretend to say anything more truthful or real or right than anyone else. I'm just experiencing change in my life and trying to express what helped me in creating that change. So it's very personal, and thank you for your acceptance, your tolerance, and your openness in listening to this. And careful about misinterpretation, because sometimes I say things a bit fast and never know what people may think, but there's no bad intention. And I wish we can all love each other so much that we create a world of love. So I'm maybe naive, but I still love that song from John Lennon, Imagine. And I keep, imagining all the time that it is true. And I'm maybe crazy, but I keep that song singing in my heart a lot. So keep imagining.
It's beautiful, Eric. Just a word from me in terms of having you on the show. It's been an absolute delight. Your transparency, your openness, your open heart, you are love. There is nobody that I've met that is like you. I mean, a true brother, a true figure of somebody who I can call a mentor. It's just an honor and a pleasure. So thank you again, Eric, really.
Thank you. That touched me a lot. Lots of love to everyone. And yes, till next time.